can swim. Just can't walk or dress myself. Take it easy. Take it easy.
Salute, and welcome. Welcome back to the Black Ocean. Now swimming in the deep end with your host, the one and only Great Black Shark. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, tonight what we're going to be discussing is the Black Sentinel mindset. Now, I know you probably like, GPS, what's that title all about? What do you mean by that? If you saw the thumbnail, you should already have a good idea what we're going to be discussing here. Because see, if you look at the word Sentinel, it means guardian or protector. And we're going to have to discuss a couple of things in the news cycle that we're going to have to go over some things about what we must do in Black America to protect ourselves, ladies and gentlemen, because as cliche as the saying sounds, we are all that we have. All we got. If we don't protect us, nobody else is going to do it, okay? Especially until we get protections in place like an anti-Black hate crime bill. And even then, it's still our responsibility first and foremost to look out for the brothers, the sisters, and the children and the elderly of our community, okay? So we're going to be going over several things here tonight that are going to touch on that. So I hope everybody is doing well over here. I hope everybody's doing great. I know I am. Oh, we got a lot to cover over here tonight, and I think it's going to be very educational for everybody that comes over here with the mindset to be educated. Now, if you're a person that's in the Alabaster community, or if you're a buck dancer, Sambozo, or a Sambozette, Sambet, whatever you want to call them, you ain't going to get nothing out of it, and you're on the wrong channel, and I don't even think you need to be over here at all, okay? You shouldn't. So, now that we got that out of the way, let me greet my esteemed guests that I see join us in the building tonight. Let me scroll and make sure I see everybody. I see Patricia Jenkins in the house. What's going on? I see BX Boss 456 in the house. What's going on? I see Dad Miller TV over here. I see the good brother Lee Holmes in the building. I see Sidonian Snow. The good sister Sakina is joining us. ATL in the _007. Okay, I see a little country lamb in here. Old grandma in the building. Derek Parker in the house. I see Chichi Banana joining us. Only Pamela's Way is over here. My good brother Bruce. Sarah U Reality, Goddess Navi joining us. And my good brother Diesel Mike out there on them highways and byways. Salute and welcome to everybody that attends here tonight. And the good sister Devin Haley coming in here. We're going to give you a tardy pass, sister. You're late. Anyways, though, family, now that I have greeted all of you, you know it wouldn't be right unless we got the show started with a good old sponsor, okay? It's going to be something to laugh at because, boy, I know a lot of y'all that's probably over here. You probably, if you checked out my YouTube short section here lately, oh, boy, y'all got to understand, it's certain things that if I find, I'm like, you know what, if I saw this foolishness, I got to share it with my audience because we're in times today where, yes, it's good for you to laugh as a Black person from time to time. You can't be running around here letting these white supremacists, these book dancing Sambozos and Sambets, and all the rest of them drive you crazy, okay? You have a right to laugh and enjoy your life, and I hope you understand that laughter gives you the strength to continue doing things that keeps your mind in a healthy state. It is very therapeutic, and it is very essential to coalescence on a psychological level. So don't ever make nobody think that you're never supposed to laugh or enjoy your life. And with that said, we're going to play a couple of songs here for y'all. Y'all done heard them before, but look, these are funny to me. We're going to keep these over here in the rotation of the sponsors for a while. So I'm going to let y'all hear this. And if you hadn't had a laugh all day, well, damn it, it's time for you to get one. Let's play this sponsor.
To be a player, but I fucked your wife. We bust on bad boys, niggas fuck for life. Plus Puppy trying to see me, we hearts are ripped. Biggie Smalls and Junior Mafia, some hard ass bitches. We keep on coming while we running for your juice. Steady gunning, keep on busting at them fools. You know the rules. Little Caesar, go ask your homie how I leave you. Cut your young ass up, leave you in pieces, now leave the seats. Lil' Kim, don't fuck around with real G's. Quick to snatch your ugly ass off the streets. So fuck peace, I'll let them niggas know it's on for life. Don't let the west side ride the night. Bad boy murdered, old wax and killed. Fuck with me and get your capsule filled. You know, see, grab your blocks when you see Tupac. Call the cops when you see Tupac. Oh, who You shot me, but your pulse didn't finish. Now you about to feel the wrath of a menace. Nigga, I hit him. On a menace, nigga, I hit him. Oh, bad boy. Bad boy, murdered on wax and killed. Fuck with me and get your...
You can find me in the club, a bottle full of bub. I'm into having sex, I ain't into making love. So come give me a hug if you're into getting rough. Go shawty, it's your birthday, we're gonna party like it's your birthday. When I pull up out front, you see the Benz on the dubs. When I roll 20 deep, it's 20 nights in the club. My flow, my show brought me the dough that bought all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my jewels, and tight-fitting jeans.
What the hell did you just say?
What the hell is that? What the hell is this? What the hell?
Oh man, I'm gonna tell you, boy, Beyonce knows the internet, boy. It's too much at times, boy. These people, boy, the stuff that they doing on here. Listen, and look, ladies, don't you act like you didn't like that song, because I know when I pull up in the club, you say the Rams sitting on dubs. I know you like that. I know you like it. Let me tell y'all something, man. This goofy AI stuff. With the lyrics that I have in my head, y'all already seen what I did. And by the way, the white supremacists are irate at me for that tooth of the Leicester. Oh boy, they crying about that. Now, see, I got to say this one more time. You white supremacists, y'all get a hold to our classic songs and put mayonnaise all over it where it don't need to be. And now that the tables are finally turned, you don't like it, do you? Well, I propose this. Here's the solution, because I'm a reasonable guy. Leave our stuff alone, and we'll leave your stuff alone. How about that? Everybody just stay in their own lane. But now, if you're not going to do that, well, there's going to be petty people like me that's going to get a hold of your stuff, and we're going to wreak all kinds of havoc. Let me tell you something. I fight the petty every day. I just be waiting on them to try me. Boy, they don't understand the havoc that I'm capable of wreaking on these internets. I'm telling you, okay? But I contain myself because I'm trying to do the Lord's work over here, ladies and gentlemen. He's not done with me yet. Anyway, family, we got some stuff to discuss, and I apologize to my good sister Devin Haley. I didn't see you because she pointed out that she was at the top of the chat. You know, that's PewTube fault. I'm going to blame them, sister. So she wasn't tardy, y'all. She was here on time. That's our sister, man. Glad you joining us, man. I hope you're doing okay. But family, before we get into that, there's something I want to put you up on, because one of the things I try to do on my platform, if I come across something that's beneficial or I think you can get a lesson out of it, I'm not like a bunch of other content creators, man. I ain't gonna never see another content creator doing that. Nope. I look at this platform as not only are you over here to hear my perspective on things and things that I think are beneficial to you and your loved ones that will empower you and protect you, I also try to put you up on things that I learn things from that I think you might find beneficial, and you make up your own mind. Our good brother Tariq Nasheed over on Tariq Radio. This particular segment of a Twitter space, an X space rather, formerly known as Twitter, an X space that he did, there was a Karen over there talking. Let me tell you something. Just like I said, the engagement that he had between Myron and Sneeko and the rest of them clowns is essential study. I'm telling you, if you have not studied this yet, you need to study this from front to back. Because I'm going to be doing some content on a similar situation, but the important lesson you got to learn, and see, this is important for a lot of our younger black people as well. You got to learn about the different types of white supremacists out here. Now, those of us who are older, we get it. But a lot of times the younger generation, and we got to face it, this is the most integrated generation that has ever been, okay? And a lot of times they get confused because their peers are amongst them. They see them every day. They may not be open with the white supremacy, but see, there's two different kinds of white supremacists, basically. You got the ones that are loud, N-word, 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 all of this. Okay, everybody know what you are. But the most dangerous and deadly ones are the ones that come to you pretending to be your friend, okay? Or they coming in like, oh, I see what you're doing. I want to help you. And if you study this broadcast here, or Karen Sneaky Reparations Rules over there on Brother Tariq Nasheed's broadcast, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Because believe it or not, there's a lot of black people that will fall for that. They'll fall for that. But see, let me tell you my stance on it, okay? When it comes to them folks over there, you can contribute financially. You can use your position in the dominant society to bring us intel we wouldn't have. But my number one stance, and this is what I encourage brothers and sisters over here listening to the sound of my voice to never adopt or allow, you're not going to come in amongst our movements and have no type of leadership position. Brother Tariq put her in her place, very eloquently so, as he always does. But I want you to listen to the rhetoric that she's using, because see, you got to understand something. White women are the mothers of white supremacy, okay? Who you think giving birth to them and training them in their homes, passing this down from generation to generation? It's mainly them. They're the first teachers of children, like all women. I'll be damned if you're going to be foolish enough to trust one of them coming over here talking about China. First of all, the sheer audacity of it for you to try to come over into a black movement and be talking about, oh, I've got the plan that you niggers were just too dumb to figure out. I'm going to be in charge. They don't, man, listen. I just go ahead and let them know, listen, I'll hear what you got to say, but you're not going to be in charge of nothing. If you want to do something, we telling you what to do. This is how you back black people, white or so-called white allies. Go advocate for our reparations to be paid in cash payments first. Everything else can be added to it as a form of reparation, but you're going to start with cash. And a part of that should be an anti-black hate crime bill. That's it. If you're not talking about doing that, don't come over here with no elaborate plans trying to remix this and trying to remix that. We're not trying to hear that. And all of this, oh, it's going to break the country and all this. You wasn't saying that when all the money was going to Ukraine, the Afghan refugees. You're not saying that when all that money is going to the Jewish people, the $5 pretendians that are mostly white and Native Americans. They just assume them people entire identity. You ain't talking about all of that. It's only when it's time for black people to get financial tangibles that it's a problem. Okay? So I want y'all to go over there and study that. It's very essential listening in my view. All right, family. Looks like we back in business here. Give me a thumbs up in the chat room if you can hear your brother loud and clear. Oh, they mad. I guess it was me mentioning the tooth of the Leicester thing now. White supremacists, don't do that. Don't mess with the channel now, because I have loads more petty that's within the community guidelines that I can flood you with. Ladies and gentlemen, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, because we're going to get this education over here, whether they like it or not. They're going to get it. Let me see if y'all can hear me. Give me a line of thumbs up for those of you that are still in here. If you can hear me in the chat room, sound off, let me know if you can hear your brother. Okay? All right. Good deal. Good deal. Looks like we're getting a couple of thumbs up. I assume that y'all can hear me. And to those of you that just take off running time, there's a difficulty. Hold tight. Have some patience. Patience is good in life. Nonetheless, the show goes on, and we're going to get into what I want to share with you all here tonight. So now, this is a brother by the name of Dr. Abdullah. In fact, the business, I'm going to go ahead and put his channel in here a couple of times. It's called All Things Education Official. I'm going to put it in here 3 times because I would like you, brothers and sisters, if you're so duly inclined, to go and subscribe to my brother Dr. Abdullah's channel, okay? He is a black educator, one of the few black male teachers still remaining in the profession. Black male teachers are very important, okay, because there's a shortage of them. And I thank goodness that brother is up there in the New York area where foundational black American men are needed as teachers. So please go and subscribe to the All Things Education Official channel. The Dr. Musa Abdullah is the brother's name, and that's going to be the first thing we're going to examine here tonight, because he did a recent report on a situation, and I want to play this for you all, because tonight's broadcast is going to be about what we need to do to protect our own, okay, until we get an anti-black hate crime bill, and after we get one, okay, it's some things we're going to have to deal with, and his report is going to be dealing with what I call the public food system, okay? I want y'all to listen to this report, and then we'll be stopping it to give commentary as need be.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Abdullah, another proud and honored contributor to the Black Congregation channel. We're going to be giving you news from an educational perspective, from a foundational Black American male teacher's perspective. Today, we're going to discuss all the way in California, while teaching while drunk is not really that bad of a deal. Let's roll that first clip.
It is not illegal to teach drunk.
The shocking discovery after a months-long investigation into Sutter County second grade teacher Wendy Munson, who was arrested last October for driving drunk in child endangerment.
There was the possibility that she drank after she arrived at the school.
That's why District Attorney Jennifer Dupre couldn't file any charges, even though investigators say the teacher was on the job with the blood alcohol content level 2 times the legal limit.
With any job, if you show up to work intoxicated, it's a fireable offense, I would imagine.
Consistent with most schools, New Estro Elementary is a drug and alcohol-free zone. The staff handbook stating that for violators of this, the board shall require termination when termination is required by law.
I certainly don't support anyone teaching children drunk, but I can't charge them criminally.
Dupre says there is also inconsistency in the law for child endangerment, saying it's a matter of proving the teacher would endanger versus may endanger the children.
And we couldn't prove that her intoxication would endanger them.
Parents think teachers should be held to.
Now let me pause it right here. Now, family, do y'all hear this foolishness? Do y'all hear this foolishness that they're talking about? See, this is what white supremacy does to protect their degenerates, okay? Because I'm going to call her a degenerate. If you are a teacher, supposed to be a teacher, and you're going to come around children, you going to come intoxicated, let alone how did you get there? Was she driving while drunk? But you get there, and then they want to try to play semantic games and talking about, well, we got to figure out if she would have versus she could have. I'm like, no, if you impaired and you drunk, you are a danger to those little ones. Let's just go on a limb, okay? Because I'm going to get on this. This is why we have to get our reparations and create our own educational institutions to send our babies to. We can't control what them folks do. Their children are not my problem, okay? I'm worried about foundational Black American freedmen children. And listen, let's go on a limb with it. Let's just say, oh, she just came in drunk and didn't harm the children. When you're a teacher, you're responsible for those children's safety. So if your judgment is impaired, you're not going to be able to do that job to the best of your ability if something was to happen. What if you need to give them specific instructions about how to get out the building because of a fire or any type of, heaven forbid, any type of disaster? You wouldn't be able to do it because you pissy drunk at school. And see, I'm finna go here because my brother Dr. Abdullah is definitely going to give his commentary on it, but I'm going to add something to this. They wouldn't be playing all these semantic word games if the teacher was a Black man or a Black woman. They wouldn't be playing like that. See, fam, let me tell you something. For those of you that can afford it, you should either send your child to a Black-run private school or homeschool. These people have lost their last mind. There will be a time, and I know those that are Gen Xers and older, we can remember when if something like this happened in a public school system, there would be zero tolerance for it. But see, remember the previous broadcast that I've done on this channel where I talked about the fall of Rome, and any time that an empire or a nation is in decline, they start accepting and normalizing degeneracy. What we're seeing today in America, we're seeing them practice the Overton's window of acceptance with all types of degeneracy. A lot of this can be laid at this current Democratic administration's doorstep. Yes, I'm not going to take my foot off their necks because we see what kind of policies with these goofy agendas that they're pushing. But see, when you become so corrupt and degenerate, instead of the people in power, the Board of Education, the mayor, the state, everybody saying, no, we're not going to have you doing this. You're fired. Not only are you fired, we're going to strip you of your teacher credentials so you can't go teach nowhere else. Oh, yeah, I'm that strict with it when it comes to kids. Let me tell you something, man. When it comes to children, you putting them in danger, reckless endangerment, she should be charged. She should be charged. You don't come around children drunk, okay? I will strip her permanently of her teacher credentials and make sure she ain't nowhere around children unsupervised. See, y'all don't want me to be in charge. Y'all really don't. I'm trying to tell you. A lot of this foolishness right here, I would put the extreme hammer down on this foolishness. And see, I'm going to tell you something. If I was a parent and I had a child in that school, once I find out teachers are drunk, no, that's the end of that. We put my kid out of that school. Nope. Ain't no discussion. Go ahead and get their records and everything. That we concluded our business with this institution. That's how serious you better take that if you're a black parent, okay? And see, this is why I also advocate that we must focus on two-parent households, okay? I get it. Things don't always work out, but you got some people that just coming out here just having kids all over the place, ain't even trying to form those stable, healthy black families. You need two parents because when it's a situation like this, a woman don't need to handle it by themselves. The father don't need to handle it by themselves. Both of you, the parents of that child, need to come up there. Hey, what's going on? What's going on? And if it's a situation where one or the other has to work, now you got somebody else to help you with that. Now, see, you got a lot of idiots that are trying to argue against stable black families, and I'm going to cover that in a future broadcast of some things I'm going to have to deal with here in the near future. Or we're going to get to that. Just won't be here tonight because I'm going to take my time dealing with that particular issue. But see, this right here, if the teacher was black, wouldn't be no word games played about if and shoulda, woulda, coulda. That black person would have been out of there. Their name would have been plastered all over the media. Oh my God, this is the worst teacher ever. Teacher coming to school drunk around the kids. We all know how the media will handle that, right? But because it's one of their own, they let it slide and they want to call it. And see, this is exactly why white supremacist America, this is why you are doomed to the judgment that you will face, and there's no way out of it for you. Let's let it continue.
Higher standard.
Being a school teacher is a little bit unique because parents are entrusting their children to a teacher and to the school.
But the law disagrees, leaving it up to districts to decide how to discipline.
So we tried because I don't like the conduct. It's not acceptable, but unfortunately it was not criminal.
Really? Really? That's what we're doing. Yeah, obviously that's what we're doing. So according to the New York Post article entitled "Tipsy Teacher with Blood Alcohol Content Over Twice the Legal Limit Not Facing Charges Because It's, quote, not illegal to teach drunk." A second grade teacher who was arrested in California for being drunk in class is no longer facing charges because prosecutors concluded it's not illegal to teach drunk. Wendy Munson's blood alcohol level was more than twice the legal limit when she was nabbed midway through teaching students in Nuestro Elementary School, north of Sacramento, last October. After months of probing the incident, the Sutter County District Attorney's Office finally revealed Monday that it hasn't found any charges that'll stick. It's not illegal to teach drunk, Jennifer Dupree, the district attorney, told NBC 15. While the district attorney office agrees that it's highly inappropriate to teach while intoxicated, it is unfortunately not illegal. Her office also said in announcing the decision, the teacher was cuffed and hauled away when Sutter.
Now, I want to pause my good brother, Dr. Musa Abdullah, right here because he's right on point with his commentary, but I want to give a brief interjection and put this on the minds of my audience over here tonight. Family, we all know that there's no way that any sane person will argue that you can operate a motor vehicle or any type of mechanical equipment with a coherent mind if you're inebriated, high, intoxicated, whatever, right? I assume we all agree on that. Now, family, I'm going to tell you where I'm finna go with it. The job of a teacher is one of the most important jobs you'll ever have because you're navigating and guiding the minds of future generations. So, if you're going to be a teacher and you're going to be navigating those vehicles that are those children's minds, don't you think you need to be coherent and in your right frame of mind to do that? See, this is a time where if you register to vote, that needs to be changed immediately. That needs to be changed immediately nationwide. It's not illegal to teach while you drunk. See, these people have lost their minds. But see, what I'm saying to Black America is just because they lost theirs doesn't mean we have to lose ours. So we must do what it takes to protect our children from this type of foolishness. Let it continue.
County Sheriff's deputy showed up to her classroom just before 8:30 a.m. October 2nd after a co-worker had raised suspicions that she was intoxicated. Munson later failed a sobriety test and her blood alcohol level was still twice the legal limit some 2 hours after the arrest, the sheriff's officer said at the time. She was subsequently charged with drunk driving with a blood alcohol of 0.08% or higher, and child abuse with the possibility of great bodily harm. Despite authorities saying that there was surveillance footage that captured her driving to school in an inebriated state, the DEA stated that it was difficult to try to finally prove. There was a possibility that she drank after she arrived at the school, Dupree said. The district attorney added it was also difficult to enforce child endangerment laws because prosecutors would have had to prove that Munson would harm the kids rather than she may have harmed them. We couldn't prove that her intoxicated would endanger them, Dupree said. We tried because I don't like the conduct. It's not acceptable, but it's unfortunately not criminal, she added. She's no longer listed as a teacher on the school's website, though it was immediately clear if she faced disciplinary actions over her drunken antics. Oh my God. People. This is where we are today. This is when I say they're playing in our faces with the law and they're endangering our children because they don't really care about our children. They care about the system. They care about the status quo. I was able to research Sutter County's rules about drinking or doing any type of illicit substance while teaching. And according to the Superintendent Policies and Regulations Manual, Sutter County Superintendent of Schools, now this was revised in 2011, says no employee shall unlawfully manufacture, distribute, dispense, possess, use, or be under the influence of any alcoholic beverage, drug, or controlled substance as defined in 21 USC 81 at any county superintendent of schools workplace. These prohibitions apply before, during, and after work hours. A superintendent of schools workplace is owned or a county approved vehicle used to transport students and staff to and from school or school activities. Any off-school sites when accommodating a school-sponsored, school-approved activity or function where students are under county office jurisdiction, or during any period of time when an employee is supervising students on behalf of the superintendent of schools or otherwise engaged in county school business. Now, this is very interesting because it states here that a classified employee may be reemployed after conviction of such an offense if the superintendent determines from the evidence presented that the person has been rehabilitated for at least 5 years. Now, this is also tricky. The county superintendent may not employ or retain in employment persons convicted of a controlled substance offense as defined in Education Code 44011. If any such conviction is reversed and the person acquitted in a new trial or the charge is dismissed, his or her employment is no longer prohibited. So
now I'm going to pause it right here. See, I'm a bit of a hard liner when it comes to certain things in society. And as I said earlier in the broadcast, one of the things I really do not play about, and if you're familiar with this channel over the years, you know I've remained consistent in my viewpoint on this. I do not play about anything messing with or endangering children. Let me tell you something. If you can't control your alcohol habit or whatever you got going on to the point that you can't be sober enough to come to school, first time we catch you coming to school like that, that's automatic permanent ban. Okay? And that's the way I feel it should be. A teacher, see, today we've gotten so far gone in society where the powers that should not be, that's what I'm gonna call them, a lot of them, they've taken away the honorable prestige that certain titles like teacher are supposed to have. Back when I was a child coming up in the education system, the word teacher actually had some honorable meaning to it still, okay? You had some good teachers, you had some bad ones, but for the most part, when you said teacher, that's supposed to be along the same lines and level in a lower sense, but almost right there with a parent in a sense, because if any institution that's going to have your children for 8 hours a day, they are second parents, okay? I mean, we'll just call that what it is. So if you're going to be in a secondary parenting position, you should be responsible enough and upstanding enough and have enough decency and wherewithal to know that you don't come to your place of employment where minors and children are, that you're responsible for shaping their future and their education and their beliefs to a sense. You should have enough respect for them and yourself not to come intoxicated. And see, again, brothers and sisters that are in this place or any school, because look, she's one of many. We see what's going on in these schools today where another issue where they having people like Sexy Red come to perform. See, if everybody got together, as far as the parents that care and say, listen, you better not have nobody like a Sexy Red coming to this school. You better not have no drag queens coming to read the kids. You better not have no drunk teachers coming and being around these students. We're not having that. That's because, see, there's a school that needs to be shut down when it gets that serious. But see, I'm going to tell you something before I let my good brother, Dr. Musa Abdullah, continue here. The reason why a lot of American society isn't that hard line on those things like I am is because when people have their modern day conveniences and their creature comforts and they're so enamored in sports and entertainment and stuff like that, the further away that you get from focusing on those issues, that's what entertainment and all those other things does when it's not in its proper place. Why you think they was raising so much hell during the pandemic, a time where a deadly disease was going around? It was rushing to get the football stadiums and basketball arenas back up, the concerts back going. I'm like, wait a minute now. If we got this deadly threat, which we clearly see it took lives, why are you rushing to get people back in spaces where you can keep continuing the spread of it by putting people in close proximity to one another? I'll tell you why. Because a key part of this oppressive system today is keeping the masses distracted with entertainment and a bunch of food oversampling of entertainment, rather. Because there's nothing wrong with entertainment and recreation in its proper place. But oversampling of it to the point where you start forsaking your responsibilities, your priorities, and the most important thing, when you're running around playing all the time and everything is about how much fun you can have, you're not looking at these crooks that are in the so-called government, the United Snakes of America, and focusing on the things that we need to do to hold them to account and get them out of those positions of power. That's why they were running around like chickens with their head cut off to get the entertainment back rolling, okay? So I just wanted to add that part to it. I want y'all to listen further, though, to the analysis my good brother Dr. Moose is about to give here. Let it continue.
You know what that means, people, that this woman who was seen on camera getting out of her car inebriated blew a little bit more than a 0.08% alcohol level 2 hours after being arrested. Because she was not able to be convicted because it was stated by the district attorney of that county that she did not break the law, she may very well be teaching again. If this isn't another glaring reason as to why we should create, fund, and maintain our own educational institutions, I don't know what is. Because under the current public school systems, and for that matter, some of our private school systems, this type of behavior is acceptable, but not for our children. No longer, no more. We need strong educators who love our children to create these institutions so that we can get out of this muck and mire that they call the public educational system. Once again, this is Dr. Abdullah giving you educational news from a foundational Black American man's perspective on the Black Congregation channel. Please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Once again, subscribe, comment, like, and share. What are your thoughts on teaching while drunk? I mean, I would say it's not a good thing, but hey, I'm just another guy on the internet. Please feel free to come on over to my channel, All Things Education Official, where we're giving this type of content on a daily. Peace.
Now you heard it, family. You probably would have never believed that had you not heard that story. You probably, nah, ain't nobody silly enough to come to school drunk. But when you're dealing with them folks, I'm gonna tell you, I don't put nothing past them. Okay, I don't trust them any further than I could throw this planet. And I'm gonna say this to my good brother, Dr. Musa Abdullah, if you're listening or if you're having the kisses on the playback, my brother, my fellow Black man. You're not just another guy on the internet. No, sir. I know you're humble. I'm not going to let you do that to yourself. You are an important Black educator. Very few today are doing what you're doing. That is a very hard job at this point in time. So we appreciate your efforts, brother. We appreciate your content. And brother, you have nothing but my full support up there in New York. And keep doing what you're doing, brother, because it does matter. And you are going to influence the lives of not only Black children, but any children that are under your tutelage. So, brother, I disagree. You're not just another guy on the internet, man. Salute to you. And thank you very much for having the passion that you have to teach our children. Salute to my good brother, Nightfall Drop and Black Voltron in the building. I see you, brothers. So now we got something else we're going to deal with here in the mindset of talking about what we must do to protect ourselves, because that's just one instance. This was going around on the internet. A lot of people asked my thoughts on it. So we're going to get to the next thing that we got to review, and we're going to stop that and review it as need be as well. Let's get into it.
I've been with FedEx for 6 years now. And it just shocks me that in 2024, I'm still being told that there are certain towns that I can't deliver in. And when I ask why, they say they're sorry that people are the way they are, but I can't deliver there. And it's crazy because when I first started at FedEx in 2018, and my supervisor there, I was in Springfield, Illinois, and she told me, like, you can't go there. And I was like, huh? She's like, you can't go there. And I ain't too much think of it. So I was delivering one day in a different town, and I had a late pickup. So I had a few hours to spare. So I'm like, I'll just drive over to the next town. It's like 12 minutes away.
Now, I want to stop it right here and deal with a couple of things that the good sister said right here, because she's a foundational Black American woman trying to earn an honest living with FedEx. A couple of things I want to point out to my people, especially young Black people, and all of my sisters, whether you're a foundational Black American freedman or a non-FBA sister, okay, that's out here trying to earn a living. I want you to listen to your brother, okay? Let me tell you something. One of the things that makes me take my job and my natural God-given role as a protector of our people, being a man, okay, a foundational Black American freedman man, one of the things that makes me take that so seriously is the fact that our women are some of the most compassionate on earth, regardless of the issues and problems that we may have here and there with each other. I don't care what you say. Most brothers, most men, period, even of other communities, know that if you feel ill or sick or what have you, you would rather be in the care of a sister with her head on her shoulders straight, because you know you ain't gonna get no other care like that on the planet. Those of us that had grandmothers, mothers that were actually decent in our lives, we can attest to that fact, okay? Now, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, one of the greatest strengths and weaknesses at the same time that we have is our beautiful humanity, okay? So now I want y'all to follow me where I'm going with this. A lot of times, because we are not a people that were taught to be wicked, hateful, or evil in our households, we tend to think that, okay, you know what? If I'm just a good person towards people, if I just go out here and do what I got to do to make a living, take care of my family, surely people will respect me for me. That's what it should be like in a normal society, in a normal world. Well, in a system of white supremacy, brothers and sisters, it's not like that. So what I would say to this sister and all the brothers here in the chat room, you better make it your responsibility and priority. Pull your significant other to the side, whether she's your wife, your long-term girlfriend. I'm going to go even as far as this. If you're dealing with somebody on a casual level and they mean something to you and you're a man, a black man, no matter what lineage you are, you pull them to the side and say, listen, let me talk to you for a minute. Now, we are in a system of white supremacy, first and foremost. The year that it is, the time that passes, that a lot of our people got to get this through your head. The passage of time does not change how these demons pass that down, anti-black racism, that is, in their families like a family heirloom from generation to generation to generation. See, what you have to do a lot of times, brothers, you have to sit our sisters down, okay, when they talk like this and say, listen, the white supremacists that you saw back in the 50s, the Jim Crow era, things of that nature, they hadn't went anywhere because we still have the likes of a Richard Spencer, which is a relatively young man. He's not no old, decrepit man walking around with a cane. The Kyle Rittenhouses out here, the Dylan Rules, okay, the Peyton Gendrons, I could go on and on. When you have white supremacy being passed down like that to the young ones, that lets you know it's still being taught in their homes. There's no way they could maintain the system if what I said was not true. And see, our sisters are going to have to learn something. First and foremost, for the people that's like, what's the solution? Oh, Giblet, I got something for you with the bad faith question for the people that's listening that would see this and go there. I've always been a big proponent on this channel for years, going back to my earliest broadcast. I believe all of our people should practice their Second Amendment rights. You should be trained to use some type of protection for yourself. I take it a step further, keep auxiliary, keep you a good blade on you, some pepper gel, pepper spray, whatever it is, especially, I'm saying it one more time, especially if you a sister out here and you doing jobs where you out here on these routes by yourself, because you need to be prepared in case somebody try you. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you like Malcolm said. Be peaceful, be courteous, be kind, but if somebody put their hands on you, just send their ass to the cemetery. You have the right to do your job in peace. If you're not harming nobody, if you're not trying to wish violence or threats against anybody, don't nobody have the right to put their hands on you just because you're a black person in America. See, these demons are absolutely sick to the point that somebody doing their job trying to bring your ignorant ass a package, you gonna practice anti-black racism. Yeah, think about how stupid this is. This person is giving you your package. You ain't even got to say nothing to them. They're going to be there all of a couple of seconds to give you what you getting and move on. They're not trying to spend the night. You ain't got to sleep with them, invite them to your dinner table, nothing. But they so hateful and wicked that they willing to practice anti-black racism against somebody that's trying to do a service for their rotten asses. I'm going to tell you something. I would tell them, I'm like, okay, cool. Don't put me on the routes. You put somebody else on there. You let them do that. Because see, I would tell them, like, listen now, I'm going to be responsible for protecting myself at all times. No part of a job description says that you're supposed to be harmed on the job while you're doing it. Okay? So I just wanted to get that out there about, you know, a lot of our people are saying it's 2024, this still going on. Yes. And see, this is why new black media spaces are important. And this is why I also tell you that being a buck dancing Sambo is not a victimless crime, because when you start having people, and see, let me explain that for a minute too. When we say Sambos, okay, the buck dancing buffoons that term applies to, they're the people that are so afraid of white supremacy that they say, okay, this is something I'm afraid of it. Because that's the first thing. They don't want to admit they're afraid. They're afraid of it. They don't know how to deal with it. So they think that like a little child hiding up under the covers, thinking that there is a monster in the room. If you just cover up, it'll go away. Problem. This is a real monster that we're dealing with. Hiding your head under the covers ain't gonna make it go nowhere. And I'm not saying that's what this sister is doing. I'm speaking of the people, the coons that have that mindset. Okay. So that's why that's not a victimless crime, because if you have other younger, more impressionable people that have yet to get out here and experience this monster called white supremacy that we deal with, which is systematic, you'll have them thinking that, oh, all you got to do is just ignore it. Like, you know, an old fool, and I'm going to call him what he is, an old fool like Morgan Freeman. Well, the best way to deal with racism is just to stop talking about it. No, actually, Morgan, that's not the case. That's not the case. Because if that was the case, all black people had to do is just be silent, not say nothing. And then these people would treat us like somebody. And when they're not going to do that, okay? Evil has to be stopped. Evil does not stop by itself. You have to stop evil, okay? Now, in this is a particular case, I want y'all to listen to her describing what she went through in case you have not saw this already, because I know it's been going around, but at the same time, some of you may not have saw it. And either way, what you won't have gotten is my particular commentary on it, and I'm going to give that the further the sister goes along. Let's let it continue.
I'll just go to the Walmart. You can always kill time at Walmart. I drive over to the Walmart. I walk in, and the looks I got made me immediately turn around, go back to my truck, and drive, the little 12, 13 minutes back to the town that I was in. And I parked in an abandoned parking spot, and I just sat in that abandoned parking spot for like 2.5 hours. And yeah, she's like, I'm sorry, but that's just the way they are. And then when I went to Wisconsin, I was cool. I always delivered to the rural areas, but then I had a guy, talk to me crazy, like, just real crazy. Anywho, and now I'm here, and it's a route that I can't do because I'm black. And it's not because I can't do the route, it's because of how the people in that town act, or how drivers have been treated in that town.
Now, let me pause it right here, because like one of the things I like to do when I cover these types of things here, I always like to make sure I add something that's useful and relevant to it. And let me say this to the brothers and the sisters out here, that unfortunately, if you having these types of experiences in your type of profession, always make sure that when you give your accounting of what happened to you, you need to let us know where these places are, because a lot of people were saying the sister didn't name the places. And, I understand why she didn't, because a lot of times, when the sisters are trying to vent or what have you, she might, who knows what she probably just experienced before she cut the camera on to record this. And probably, she's probably kind of disappointed and downtrodden from having to deal with that, because you kind of see the disappointment in a sister's eyes. And that's the thing about us as men, we know our women. And you can look in that sister's eyes and tell that she's somewhat hurt by this. I can tell. Okay, but so that's probably why she didn't just name the towns. But I do agree that's important. When something happens to us in a place today, if you're going to put it out here in the public, let us all know where it is. Because, those of us with platforms like mine, and I'm definitely speaking for mine. If nobody else will sound the alarm on it, I damn sure will. Oh, yeah, send it to me. I will put it out there on Front Street, loud and proud. Okay? But there's many other brothers and sisters in New Black Media that will do the same. I know them for certain, okay? So make sure that you put out the locations, any other relevant information about these particular places that you go to, where these modern-day sundown towns are, so that we can know what to do to protect ourselves. Because, again, the theme of tonight's broadcast is what we must do to be in Sentinel mode, the Black Sentinel mode, protecting ourselves, okay? And I want to ask my good sister, a goddess Navy, something I just saw in the chat room here. You were saying somebody's an atheist. Who's that, sister? I missed it there. I was over here cooking. I just happened to glance down. Who's the atheist? It's probably some conversation I missed. Is that a story I need to cover? Who's an atheist in there that's not qualified to give information on something? Sister, if you will, let me know in the chat room there, because I missed that. But while I'm waiting on that answer, ladies, y'all remember, and all of us, not just the ladies, all of us, when we report on these things, give the location, give descriptions, anything that's relevant to let other people know, because you could save the life of a black person that would be going into a situation they're not aware of, okay? Because one of the things about it is a lot of our people do assume that because it's 2024 that, nah, they really ain't like that. And then look, let's be honest, unless it's a really bad situation, you got a lot of black people in this country that think, oh man, they might say a few names, this, that, and third, but ain't nobody ever did nothing personally to me. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be thinking just because they haven't had a violent experience with a white supremacist that things are overblown and exaggerated. I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. No, it's not. These areas where these white supremacists are, for example, when you think about it, this is how crazy the white supremacists are. They can be in states like Vermont, Maine, Iowa, places where you will hardly ever see a black person. Black people in the single-digit percentages, which is something I advocate against. Our people should not be in these states where our numbers are in the single digits. You need to come where more of your people are at. If the population of black people isn't at least between 15 to 20%, where you at, you need to rearrange and move around, brothers and sisters, okay? That's not safe for you because your backup come where the greater our numbers are, okay? Go on down here to the south where your people at. That's where most of us are. But when it comes to this type of situation right here, these people will be around where they don't have to see a black person from sun up to sundown. And what do they do when they get online? Or nigga, that's N-word. I'm like, you're not even around no black people, jackass. That lets you know that these people are obsessed to a demonic degree with us. Okay, family? They're obsessed to a demonic degree. And see, what I appreciate about those like that, I don't get mad. I don't get upset. It doesn't hurt my feelings. You know me, I'm a retired combat veteran. One of the main things that I value is intel on the battlefield because now I know how to deal with you. I will plan accordingly on what to do to protect myself, my family, and my community. So for brothers and sisters that are downtrodden about these people feeling a certain type of way, let me tell you something. That's not your issue that they're demonically insane. You didn't do a doggone thing to these people. And we haven't collectively done anything to people that have such a hatred for us over here in this country. But their issues and problems are theirs. Our issue and problem is protecting ourselves from them, okay? So don't ever take that to heart for any of you that's listening that might, feel some type of way about any experience that you've had with them or what this sister went through. Let's let it continue.
The same color as me. So now they just stick to putting people in that town that look like those people. And that's so crazy because it's 2024. It's so crazy. But yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So now you heard the sister's accounting of what she went through there. Let me tell you something, right? See, brothers, one of the things you have to make sure that you do with your woman, okay? Because we're talking to the men about this. One of the things you have to make sure you do with your woman is not just teach her how to physically defend herself with her Second Amendment rights, teaching her how to use pepper gel, preferably pepper gel in most cases, because, okay, in case the wind is blowing, it don't blow back and hit you. Then you have to deal with a chemical burn. That will make a lot of sisters panic in a dangerous situation. So pepper gel, but if you do use the pepper spray, since people are talking about solutions, y'all know what I tell you. A lot of sisters, when it comes to the pepper spray, a lot of y'all tend to think, okay, go for the eyes, go for the eyes. Okay, yeah, if you can get to them, that works. But what do I tell y'all? I'm going to see how well y'all know me on my channel before I tell you. What's the other target area I tell you over here if you're a woman and you using pepper gel to aim for besides the eyes? I'm going to see how well my audience knows me before I give you the answer on this. See how well y'all been paying attention over years. Anybody know what that other target area I tell you to aim for is? I'm going to give you a minute and give me an answer. I want to see how well y'all pay attention. Anybody know what that other target area is that I tell you to aim for with pepper spray or any type of bear mace that will actually debilitate an attacker or anybody that's trying to come upon you and upset? Oh, there it is. There it is. My brother Michael Williams got it. Aim for that crotch area. Yeah. Set them little chestnuts on fire. Because, see, let me tell you something. The good thing about that pepper spray, if there's no wind blowing to blow it back on you, you aim down at that crotch area, man, and you got a good stream on there, it'll soak through them jeans. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I don't care who you are, boy. When genitals get to burning, you gonna start making some different decisions other than trying to harm somebody. Okay. See, that's the thing about if you have any type of self-defense item, it's not enough just to learn how to use it. You have to learn how to deploy it in different ways that are most effective to defending yourself. Okay. So that's something I always advocate for the brothers, to make sure you're teaching your significant other about these things. And on to that, not just physical self-defense, but psychological self-defense, being aware of your surroundings, situational awareness. Okay. Paying attention to if you walk into a place and it's most of them folks, if they looking at you crazy, go ahead and turn around and leave. Don't go in there trying to order nothing. I should be able to do this, that. Hey, yeah, you should be. But if you're at a disadvantage, you don't put yourself in that situation. You always think to protect yourself first. Okay. So our responsibility as men, these are things that encompasses. And see, a responsible man is always on that. Okay. Y'all know the other big thing I tell you, brothers, stay on your women about. And your daughters, don't have them leaving and running around the house with them damn phones on 20, 30%, 17%. You drill that into their head and listen, this phone, when you leave this house, it should be at least 90, 85%, no less. Okay? 85% no less. Especially if you're not somewhere where you have a car charger or anything of the like. It's imperative that you practice these things, because protecting somebody is a team effort. I've said this many times. I'm going to say it again here tonight. Being a man that runs an executive protection agency, one of the things that is required for us to do our job with any clientele or any facility that we're protecting is to have the cooperation of that person or that facility. If we lay out a security detail plan for you and you do everything except for what's on there, then you hindering us from doing our job efficiently. You can't really protect somebody unless they cooperate with you, okay? Protection requires cooperation, so that's something I want the sister to remember. If you are fortunate enough to have men, whether it's your significant other or men in your family or men in the community that are upstanding, that try to look out for you, put that bullheadedness to the side and listen to your brothers that are concerned, okay? All right? That's something we must do, family, because we finna head into a time, and I've said this before, I'm gonna say it again. That last stream that I showed you, I know we had a good time laughing at that goofy white supremacist that was going through what he calls a hardship, but see, you got to understand something historically with these people, and you have to study the patterns of history. When they experience economic hardship or anything that they feel is too hard for them to deal with, they start trying to take that out on black people. Okay. So we're going to see a lot more of that erratic behavior, trying to harass, assault, and target black people as a way for them to cope with them not dealing with their people that's in power. Okay. That's you would think if they were smart, the people that's in power are not black folks. It's their community. But because they're too cowardly and afraid to deal with their own people, they'll take it out on us. All right. That's all right. Let them try it. My message to you is make sure that you're prepared to deal with all eventualities to protect yourself. You have a God-given right to do that, okay? Don't let nobody terrorize you in your own land, your community, nothing of the sort, all right? So that's my message to you regarding that, and I'm going to say it one more time. If you're unfortunate enough to find yourself in those types of situations, make sure that you do your utmost best to give us the information, the locations, the names, any relevant information about that, because you could be potentially saving and protecting the lives of other black people that don't know anything about that particular situation. But we're not done yet, though, fam, because this is going to be a harder part of the broadcast to do. But a part of our job over here in New Black Media is to bring you these types of stories and information so that you're aware of what's going on out there today. This affects children also. And this story, a lot of y'all have sent it to me. A lot of people asking, did I have anything to say about it? Of course I do. Anything involving children, if I hadn't gotten to it yet, chances are I'm working on it, okay? But we're going to deal with something here tonight, and I'm going to let this story play, and we're going to be stopping it, break certain things down, and point stuff out as need be.
Well, tonight we are hearing from the family of an 8-year-old boy who died in Wayne County earlier this week. Noah Bush went missing Wednesday afternoon in Jessup. Law enforcement unfortunately found his body yesterday in a pit used for construction materials off of Mill Creek Circle. Our Flynn Snyder has been talking to the child's relatives today.
He tells us more about how they are reacting to this tragedy in an interview you'll only see on WTOC.
So let's go to every extent that you would.
An emotional plea from the family of 8-year-old Noah Bush as they search for answers in the death of their young relative.
There's a lot of Ring cameras, doorbell cameras.
They're asking neighbors in the Mill Creek Circle area to come forward with any home security footage that may have been taken around when the boy went missing Wednesday afternoon.
We just want to make sure that all aspects of this investigation are being analyzed and hopefully that we come to a conclusion of what happened.
Investigators found the 8-year-old's body early yesterday in water near a construction pit not far from his home. Noah's aunt says she was initially hopeful the boy would return, but as daylight diminished, so too did her optimism.
You're watching helicopters swarm the sky. You're watching dogs. You're watching bodies and bodies of people search for this baby. It was just something very, very hard and just unreal to deal with.
Investigators say Noah appeared to have drowned, while his family describes him as athletic.
He would not have willingly went that close to the water.
No.
Let me pause this right here because let me say this again. I've said this many times over the years. One of the things that no parent should have to experience is burying their child, okay? No parent should have to ever experience that. This place down here that they're talking about, Jessup, Georgia, Wayne County, let me tell you something. You talking about some show-no stomp down white supremacists down there? No, you do not play around down in Jessup County, Georgia. No, you don't. No, you don't. I'm not going to berate or deride this black family, but one thing I'm going to say is you got to, family, you got to operate by the old ways on this. You don't let black children go off unsupervised with their white friends, and you damn sure don't let them go to their house. I know this is going to sound like a broken record, but for those of us in the South, especially, my parents didn't play that. Listen, I had white friends I went to school with. Good friends. Some of them I'm still cool with to this day. We weren't going over to their houses. Now, they could come over to our house because we know that everybody's going to leave there, that come there in good health, and you're going to leave there in the same good health condition that you can. Okay, but for us going over to spend the night, and see, at the time, we didn't understand it. Oh, mom, this, that, the third, or dad, hey, so-and-so is cool, this, that, that. Yeah, no, you're not going over there. Mm-mm. And see, the older that you got, you start to understand that, and then they explained it to you. You start to understand, oh, okay. And then you started seeing certain things, you be like, oh, that's why they didn't want me going around over to their houses. Because, listen, their parents just might be straight. They might be. They might be. Here's the problem. Because, see, you know you got the white people listening. Well, I'm not like that. I would never do that. And you probably wouldn't. You probably wouldn't. But see, here's the problem. Today in America, being that black people are still dealing with the same issues of anti-black racism like that sister was talking about that had the FedEx job, we would not still be in this situation dealing with that particular issue if most, yes, not all, but most, because there's no way you would still have these issues going on if most of white America wasn't practicing anti-black racism and white supremacy. So while you might be the white parent that doesn't practice that, you got somebody in your family that do, and you know you do. You just ignore it because you're not going to disown your family members. I already know that. But you definitely have somebody in your family that probably can't wait to get the opportunity to harm a black child. Because, see, these types of demonic cowards, let me tell you something. For you punk bitch white supremacists listening to this broadcast, because I know you listen. You are the lowest form of cowardly maggot because you know you're not going to run up on no grown foundational black American man or some of these sisters out here. You go and pick the weakest amongst us, the most innocent children. See, this is why foundational black Americans in particular, and most non-FBA brothers and sisters, have a moral compass to stand on because we don't believe in harming children like that. Nobody's children, no matter what race you are, we don't believe in harming people's children. But not you demonic white supremacists, because, see, you don't see black children as human. We know you don't. We know you don't. But, see, the problem for you is we see them as human because we love our children. And we're going to go above and beyond to protect our children. Just like you claim you're supposed to do with them 14 words of white supremacy. But, see, y'all don't really believe in that. Because if you really believed in that, let me tell you why I say they don't believe in it. The first time that you had any of your little white demonic male mass shooters go and shoot up schools with kids in it, you would come down on that so hard that no other white person in your community would think about doing that to no children. Because they killing most of your kids when they do that. Let's be clear on that. With your birth rates going down, you really can't afford to lose no more children. Oh yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it. Yeah, I'm going there with it. But see, back over here in our community, this situation right here, man, look, let me tell you something, man. I don't know this brother and this sister. I feel for their loss. My condolences to them. But if they was a part of my family, let me tell you something. My folks would have been like, hey, whoa. You finna go let who go do what? No, baby. Wait a minute. No, you can't do that now. No, we got to talk about this now. No, you can let them come over here, but we not letting them go over there. 8 years old too? Oh, no. No. And see, I'm going to go a step further. This going to make some teenagers mad. It's going to make some of y'all mad. Let me tell you something. When you become a teenager, you start to think that you know everything. You think you got it all figured out. You think you're grown. Some of you, I'm going to be honest with you, you shouldn't be hanging out with them either. Because see, a lot of them, if they get high, they get drunk, they go decide to commit some type of crime, break into somewhere, steal something, and you sitting up there with them, even if you don't do it, they'll pin it all on you and say you made them do it. And then you the one that's going to get charged with the crime and have a record, and they'll just get probation, if that. Because you know what they do. They can be 30 years old and call their community, oh, he's just a kid. We don't want to ruin their lives with a record. Oh, it's no big deal. Nobody was hurt. You know what I'm saying? They'll say that for their kids. The black child, oh, he made them do it. He was the ringleader. He probably forced them into arrest. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, look, I get it. This is the most integrated society you've ever been in, but you better understand that you cannot trust your white friends like you think you can, especially if y'all getting together doing silly things that are against the law. All right. And then further than that, even though you're a teenager, if you're black in America, you shouldn't be trying to put yourself in a situation where it's only one or two black people and they're the majority, because that's when somebody in that group is going to get the stupid idea to start messing around with you and trying to see if they can do something or antagonize you some type of way. And then if something go wrong to the point that somebody dies, none of them get in trouble. There's no situation where a white person is going to come where it's a majority of black people and then that person go missing and then none of the black people get held responsible for it. That just doesn't happen. I've never seen that in America. If any of you in the chat room have seen it, fill me in, because I have never seen it, okay? But see, this particular area down here, let me tell you something. Being a Georgia man, that I know this state from top to bottom, no. I wish I would have been a friend to this family. If I knew them, I'd be like, hey, no, brother, sister, don't do that. Don't send your child down around them folks like that, because you're not going to be able to trust them. And if something happened, it's better for them to be offended and think you this, that, or whatever they want to call you, versus you have to be in a situation like this and you're mourning your child because you couldn't see as far down the road to think that somebody would actually be demonic enough to harm the most innocent in our society, which is a child. Let's let it continue.
They went to the beach. They couldn't even get him to go in the water. You know, like, he had a huge terror of water.
While questions and grief consume Noah's family, they remember the 8-year-old as an energetic and giving child.
Loved to race, play basketball, football. He was an outgoing kid. Little kids play either here in the yard, play right there, and they come back home. He didn't come back home that day.
I got this initial incident report back from investigators. It does not give many details about what happened. The sheriff's office says that's because the investigation is still ongoing and they do not suspect foul play. Reporting in Jessup, Flint Snyder, WTOC News.
Little Noah Bush was a second grader at James E. Bacon Elementary School. The Wayne County School System released a statement saying in part, quote, having been a Bacon Bee for several years, Noah's passing will certainly have a significant impact on students and staff members at that school. Please be in prayer for Noah's family during this difficult time and support them with love and compassion.
And now, family, let me take the time to point something else out. about the end of that report when you heard them say the cliche line now? Well, there's not many details coming out because the investigation is still ongoing. See, let me tell you what that really means, especially down here in the South, all over America, but especially down here in the South, okay? This is what you got to understand about places down here in the southern part of America, okay? I agree with our honorable ancestor, Grandmaster Teacher, Warrior Scholar, Malcolm X, that anything south of Canada is the South. But see, when you get way down here, here's the difference. If something like that happens to a black child and it's mostly little white children responsible, I want y'all to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you. Most of the law enforcement, the judges, the mayors, people like that, they're related to these people. Or if they're not related to them, they're good friends with them. So none of them is going to send none of their little white children to prison for some little nigger child, okay? This is how it is down here. You understand me? Yeah, I'm going there, okay? All that and pin, because see, let's keep it a buck. If the situation was reversed and little 8-year-old Noah Bush would have went down, you know, that if he was white and went down with some black folks and never came back, oh, I guarantee you that'd be the fastest concluding investigation you ever seen. It wouldn't be no investigation. Guilty. You did. We know it was foul play involved. It wouldn't be no, oh, it ain't no foul play. No. Okay? So that's the difference I want y'all to remember when you hear me going on about white supremacy in the South being different, because it is. Yes, it is. Down here, it is much different, especially in smaller towns. Well, you think nepotism is bad on a job. You apply that to a government system. You apply that to law enforcement, things of that nature, where if you think, okay, I report something to the police or go, you know what I'm saying, or fill out this report. When everybody's related to one another, you ain't going nowhere with that in some of these places. You hear me? That's the difference, okay? So, unfortunately, we got some more situations like that we got to look at, because see, again, the main thing that I'm doing this for and trying to get upon the minds of my people is we must protect our women and our children and our elderly, okay? I get it. Your children are young. They want to have fun with folks, but you can't be letting black children go off with these non-black folks, especially the whites and some of the white adjacents. You got to watch them too. And they the only little black child around. No, it's just not in your best interest to do that if you care about the safety and well-being of your child. If they just got to meet up, you can say, hey, look, we'll throw something and invite them to come over here where we know everybody's going to be safe and they're going to go back home to their parents. Or, hey, we'll set something up on and y'all can communicate online or whatever, whether through video games or whatever. But the one thing that we not going to do is send the black child over to their household where ain't no black supervision. Oh, no, not a chance in hell. I wouldn't do it if I was a parent. But I want y'all to listen to this next report here, because see, this one, it's another tragedy, but we got to review these things and talk about what we're supposed to do, especially if you're parents, in the way of protecting your children, because nobody else is going to protect black children. You got to understand that the next most hated thing besides a black woman which gives birth to black children is the product of what she gives birth to, a black child. Especially in this time period where they're looking at their steady declining numbers. See, when we say that, we look at it as just a matter of fact. It's different when those declining numbers affect you and you in that community. This is literally life or death for them. So now you think about how they view that. See, let me take it a step further before we get into this next report. I want the sisters to let this resonate with you too. You think about how a white woman that looks at her community and don't see as many white children in it, looks at a black community and see a whole playground full of little smiling, happy black babies. Don't you know that intensifies her hatred for you and your children? Brothers, I know you understand it. If you don't, you better understand it. But we're going to get into this story right here, because this is another lesson that needs to be learned. I want y'all to pay close attention to this report we're about to review here.
Questions, as I'm sure many of you will, and the police do too. and then consider where it happened. An 11-year-old allegedly sat on, imagine the fear, 15-year-old friend while he drowned in a pond. Nobody helped. Killed 6 children in Columbus, Georgia. The youngest of whom is just 9 years old, have been charged in connection with the drowning death of their friend, 15-year-old Zamir Green, on the left, whose body was discovered last month floating in a retention pond. Green drowned May 23rd, but the other children did not report the incident for 6 days, leading to the grisly discovery on May 29th for the Columbus PD's Violent Crimes Unit. Columbus Police Department confirming those arrested as 17-year-old Shane Sano on the right, 5 other younger juvenile suspects between the ages of 9 and 12 who were all believed to be friends from the Muscogee County School District. Sano, who is the older brother of one of the female juveniles, turned himself in, according to police spokesperson Brittany Santiago.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
Samir's body was found at the dead end of Ormond Drive behind a line of trees near the Chattahoochee River, where the basin was filled with stormwater due to heavy rain.
Let me pause it right here and give y'all a bit of brief history about that particular river. Okay, the Chattahoochee River down here in Georgia. All right. Let me tell you something. If you've been subscribed to this channel for any length of time, you know I've gone into extensive history about all different places down here in Georgia that are responsible for the deaths of our people, our ancestors and loved ones from past to present. That river right there, to this day, okay, to this day, is known to be a place, and this is the part where a lot of people, and this is why I take issue with certain people talking about, man, the Ku Klux Klan ain't no threat no more. That was back then. You's a damn fool. Maybe in your state it's not, for those that would say that, but in my state, yes, the hell they are still around here. You hear me? Oh, yes, they are. You need to understand that a lot of these white supremacists, when they hold their little rituals, these little white supremacist groups, particularly the KKK, okay, there's many others, all right? They go and seek out places in the woods and the wilderness and places like that to gather around. So this river here in particular has a significance to deal with that, all right? If you're the type of black person, you're going to be out here in these woods hunting, this, that, the third, you better make sure you strapped and ready to deal with their ass, and you got numbers on your side, all right? Because they out there. While a lot of people are running around playing goofy games and all they worried about is how cute they look for some of the women, some of the dudes, all they concerned about is sports, is that the third. These white supremacists out here in these woods training, man, for all types of things. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about, all right? So I just want to give you a bit of history on that river in particular because, see, a lot of our ancestors and relatives met their end hanging from trees near that river, okay? That I could do a whole broadcast on that by itself. And that's something I'm probably going to have to start going back into to try to remind our people that this wasn't so long ago that these attitudes were had towards our ancestors, okay? So now when you fast forward to present day, if you're lax on being vehement and proactive about your children and who they associate with, where they go, keeping up with them, then unfortunately you may find yourself having to listen to a report like this, and then you be mourning the loss of a child, which was, I don't wish that on even my worst enemy. Okay, I would not. I don't wish for no parents to have to bury their children, all right? But I want y'all to listen to this report, and then I'm going to point some other things out the further that the sister gets along into describing what happened here.
Rainfall in recent days. Authorities believe the children were horseplaying before the fatal incident. County medical examiner later ruled Zamir's death a homicide following reports that one of the kids in the group was allegedly sitting on the victim when he drowned in a black star. As a result, one 11-year-old faces the most serious charges of involuntary manslaughter, concealing the death of another. 17-year-old, meantime, 12-year-old, 9-year-old, and 2 other 11-year-olds were only charged with concealing the death of another. Everyone in the group witnessed Amir's death, but said nothing to anyone about it, police said. Anna Blackstar with the details. The 11-year-old prime suspect was arrested June 13th, taken to the Regional Youth Detention Center where he was still being held. Sano, charged as an adult and detained in the Muscogee County Jail before being released on $1,500 bail, according to the Muscogee County Sheriff's Department. His case, we should tell you, was remanded to Muscogee County Superior Court, but his first hearing has not yet been scheduled. The younger juveniles were processed and released to their parents, according to the Ledger-Inquirer. The records of the 5 underage suspects were sealed by court officials, their names withheld from the public. The Columbus Police Department emphasizes the importance of parents encouraging their children to speak up immediately when they know something is wrong. I would have phrased it when they've done something wrong. Columbus Police Department said in a statement, the principle of see something, say something is vital in helping prevent tragedies and ensuring the safety of our community.
Now, let me stop the sister right here, and I'm going to go ahead and break this down and give it to you from a Georgia man's perspective. When they say, if you see something, say something, that only applies to anything that happens to other white people. You better understand that when the white folks say that down here, they're not telling their children, hey, if you see something, say something if it happened to a black person. Oh, no, they are told vehemently not to do that. And see, I know the white supremacists don't like me saying this because, believe it or not, you got a lot of black people, they're uncomfortable with just telling the truth like I just said it. Let me tell you something. I love my people, and I love you enough to say the truth, and I don't give a damn who outside the community takes offense to it. That's not my issue or problem if they're offended by what I'm saying. I don't give two shits what they think about me. My concern is the protection of you in this chat room, you who I've never met, and the future unborn black children. That's who I'm concerned with, okay? So I want you to understand that that's what they mean when they say that. See, all these laws that's on the books or whatever, that's really only for them. They don't really care if anything happens to us. All you have to do is look at the difference in how they treat things when the same types of things happen. You would see, for black people, those of us in our right frame of mind, if we see something bad happen to anybody that's unjust, we speak out about it. We don't like seeing unjust things happen to any person. But when it's us, when something happens to us, well, there's an excuse about why it happened, or they'll try to rationalize it. Like we saw when they murdered George Floyd, regardless of whatever kind of record he had, whatever. There's no way that you can explain or justify that man being in handcuffs, held down by 4 officers and somebody kneeling on his neck. An evil person will rationalize that. Look at what happened to our sister, Breonna Taylor. They tried to rationalize that, okay? They're always trying to rationalize some type of degenerate evil behavior, which is why I do not feel sorry for them with the judgment that we see that's rolling out upon these people, because whether they believe it or not, the punishments that they're suffering now is divine, okay? Like, people don't have nothing to do with this. You reap what you sow. And we couldn't help you now if you wanted to. See, there was a time where if you would have did the right thing by black folks, maybe we could have worked together and got some things going, but that time is over. When the Almighty step in and say, okay, that's enough, I'm going to go ahead and pass judgment. It ain't nothing no more a man or woman can do. I don't know what to tell your community at this point. Because, see, as we speak, believe it or not, family, as tragic as this is for those of us who are black people, white supremacists will see something like this and they'll make fun of it. They'll mock it. You know, black people, we don't mock the deaths of nobody's children. We don't. We don't have that in us. We weren't raised that way. But see, the more that they come out and expose their wickedness, the worse that judgment is going to be. And I don't care whether they're atheists or not. I'm going to tell you one damn thing. That judgment is coming. We all you got to do is look around and see the things that they're dealing with now. Look at their decline on the global stage, not just here in America, on the global stage. Everybody getting sick of dealing with white supremacists. Why you think BRICS is coming about the way it is right now? They're getting tired of these people, man. Particularly over here in the Western Hemisphere. I'm going to tell you something. We're God's children. We good. We just going to sit back with our popcorn and watch the show. Don't come running us to help because it's nothing we can do for you. Let's let it continue.
Presumably, one of the boys in the group revealed what happened after keeping it a secret for nearly a week, as no one in the community had reported the body to authorities. Columbus police, meantime, Deputy Chief Lance Deaton said the tragedy was made worse because both the victim and suspects were so young. It's tragic all the way across the board, he said, according to station WTVM ABC 9. Samir's mother, Jamaica Harbison, described him as a sweet soul who wanted to be a pastor. She was shocked that the 11-year-old, whom Zaire protected and considered a close friend, was accused of his death.
Now, let me interject right here because you hear the sister describing what his mother thought of her son and, you know, what he wanted to be, his hopes and dreams. But let me say this to you sisters and definitely to the men. Y'all gonna feel what I'm saying. See, my father always taught me coming up that I don't care what kind of friends you got, you don't play games with each other where you could be harmed or killed, okay? When you teach your child, black boys and girls, that they're around a group of friends, so-called friends or whatever, and somebody start playing with a weapon or doing something silly that could lead to your injury or serious injury or harm or possibly kill you, you don't participate in that and you get out from around that, okay? And if you have to, go ahead and administer some jumper cable justice, as I like to say, hook them jumper cables up to some jaws and wire some jaws shut. You got to do that too. Whatever it takes to defend your person in your life. You don't play little goofy games and practical jokes where somebody could get hurt. My father was always big on that. Like, son, look, you're going to have fun, play jokes. You don't play no kind of game or joke where somebody could get hurt or killed. That's not funny, okay? But see, unfortunately today, I'm not saying that this sister did this, but you got a lot of parents out here today. They want to try to be their children's friend instead of giving them information that's going to protect them in society and teach them how to think and navigate. Let me tell you something. You always teach your children to value their well-being and their safety above anything else. You don't do anything because no peer pressure, nobody daring you to do nothing, because at the end of the day, you let them know that when you leave this house, you're supposed to come back to this house just like you leave it, to me, okay? That's what my parents told me, okay? So I was never one to keep company around a bunch of kids my age that were into doing a lot of stupid things, and there were some, but they didn't come around me with that because I was known as a guy like, hey, man, don't go to playing with that dude with certain types of foolishness. He ain't with it. Unless you want to get your head knocked off your shoulders, you better take that foolishness over there with somebody that agree with that, because I wasn't one of them, okay? So I'm just saying, you got to make sure you teach your children that also, because, you know, I don't want to see any of you on the news having to deal with this type of story right here. Let's let it continue.
I thought of him as a witness, not the accused. Samir always protected that little boy, she said. The incident has left her family grief-stricken and Harrison's 7 other children traumatized. Harrison added, they are afraid to make friends. They don't want to leave my house anymore. That sounds perfectly reasonable to me, Mayor. I don't understand this kind of behavior to the point of pain and death.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, 11 years old, sat on him, left, and then just left him in the water for 6 days. 6 days? 6 days. And that's 3 days longer than Emmett Till was in the water. So imagine what the disfigurement, when it said gruesome, all I could think about was Emmett Till's body. And it's unbelievable to me that this man died thinking he was at the pool or at the pond with his friends. It's not even a man, this boy died thinking he was at the pool with his friends. This is the next level that we're talking about.
It is. And then you have to go further, because I thought about what condition the body of this child was in as well. In the Georgia warm waters, bloated. But I also thought, Mayor, of Jamaica, the mother. She was frantic, probably, calling around. Had to have asked the child or the accused parents, have you seen my son?
Let me pause it right here. And I got to go here because, see, I want this broadcast to be one that impresses upon everybody listening to it the importance of forming complete, stable Black families. I'm hearing the report. I'm listening to it. It's a tragedy. My condolences go out to the boy's mother. But you heard how many other kids they say she have, and I'm not hearing anything about a father around, okay? The reason I'm saying that, brothers in this chat room, we know that a household where the father is under the roof, in the same household with his wife and his children, we set rules that be like, no, wait, where you say you want to go? Oh, no. How many parents down there? Oh, for real? Oh, nah, you're not going down there. Nah. See, we go ahead and shut certain things down, whereas where the father isn't there, a lot of times the children are kind of talk mama into doing stuff. Oh, mama is so-and-so. Oh, everybody gonna be there. And then, you know, the sisters will cave in and they'll end up letting the child go out and do certain things. Whereas if that father's there, oh no, ain't none of that going. You can be as mad as you want to be. My job isn't to keep you happy 24/7. My job is to keep you alive. We can be friends later on once you get older. That's optional. But right now, my job is to make sure that you are well taken care of and under my roof as long as I'm responsible for you, okay? See, I'm not beating up on anybody, but in a future broadcast, I'm going to deal with something that a lot of y'all probably saw on X, where there was a particular individual trying to argue with me about forming healthy, stable Black families. Husband, wife, children under one roof. Oh, we're going to get there. I'm going to deal with that because, see, it's too late in the game for people to be advocating for that kind of foolishness in our community. Again, I get it. Things don't always work out, but that doesn't mean that you don't start out trying to do what's right and what's in the best interest of children, which is to be married before you have them, and you stay your behind together once you have them, as long as nobody's doing nothing to harm nobody. All this, I'm not happy, I'm gonna jump out my marriage. That nope. Once you start having kids, you commit. See, the word commitment used to mean something. Today, with this no-fault divorce and all this foolishness, man, everybody just do what they want as soon as you're not happy. No, that's not what adults do. Adults have to make sacrifices. Again, I say it one more time for the people that'll come over here with the whataboutisms. Not talking about a situation where somebody's in danger or one of the spouses is a danger to themselves, the children, and their other spouse. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this juvenile, foolish mindset where people just treat marriage like just hopping in and out of double dutch or something like that. That's crazy, man. We got to do better than that, man, for the sake of these kids, man. When you got two parents under one roof operating to make decisions, it's always going to be better than just having one, okay? So I had to go there. A lot of people don't want to say things like that, but I'm saying it for the protection of the community. Let's get back to it.
Probably out of her mind with grief and worry, and nothing, as you said, for 6 days.
Yeah, and there's 6 children still in her house that are without, or 7 now, they said, I'm sorry, without a brother or sibling that they need explanations for, and nobody's going to be able to make sense of it.
Heartbreaking. And I don't know what justice is in this case when you're dealing with so many young people, but for them to collectively, my child can't hold water. My child tells me everything she does wrong. And I like to think it's because we have a good relationship. I want her to be great and honest, have integrity, some kind of moral compass. I don't believe that all these children would be able to keep such a secret, but indeed that appears to be the case.
Yes, and it appears to be the case because, like I said, it's not just the white supremacists that teach their children that the lives of little Black children are not as much worth as their own children's lives. It's also the white supremacists adjacents over here. You know, the East Indians, the Asians, the Arabs, okay, the Hispanics that come over here like that. Listen, they're not half-stepping with anti-Black racism. They're copying everything, all right? All of it. So that's what you must be aware of as a Black parent, all right? Family, I'm going to say this to you. I don't care if you get upset with me. I'd rather you be upset and take this advice if you never come back to this channel again. If you are a parent to black children in America at this juncture in our history, with all these illegal aliens flooding up here, plus the regular white supremacists, you got to be double on your job. You hear me? Don't you have your babies going nowhere unsupervised? And see, another thing too, when it comes to children being around any kind of water, they need to be supervised. Because look, children gonna do silly things, all right? They're children. They hadn't been trained yet. All right, and then help them if they don't have parents with them to train them and teach them anything, especially with them folks outside our community. But see, when you around water, you don't need to have no children unsupervised around water because they get to playing and doing little silly things where you might have to be like, hey, nah, y'all cut that out for somebody to get hurt. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, like, you keep that in mind. Take that to heart, what I'm saying here tonight, because we can't keep you losing the future of our people, okay? Y'all should never have to know what it's like to lose your children, all right? But we got some more situations to deal with here. We're going to get straight into it, family.
This one's going to blow your mind, even in today's world. A white couple who enslaved black adopted kids charged. 63-year-old Donald Ray Lance and 62-year-old Jean K. Whitefeather, a white couple from Sissonville, West Virginia, are back behind bars after a judge revoked their initial bond and raised it to $500,000 apiece. More than double the amount they faced last year when police arrested them on charges of locking their adopted black children in a barn and forcing them to work as slaves. The couple was ordered to reappear in court on June 11th, more than 8 months after each posted a $200,000 bond following their arrests in October.
With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show.
We're right on the heels of Juneteenth. I don't know why they were out to reappear in the first place. You're going back to slave days. Some people maybe need to be locked up pending adjudication here. And, I don't like to lock people up, but there's some people, they do, apparently.
Oh, I'm going to tell you right now, I like to lock people up. The right ones. Oh, yeah, I'm all for locking people up. Let me make that clear. The right ones, like in this case, oh, yeah, you need to be locked up pending adjudication, like she said. There shouldn't be no bond set. Look, let me tell you something. If your brother GBS was in charge, if it's proven that you did something to a kid, ain't no bond for that. Oh, no, you're not going nowhere. You going to sit behind these bars until this trial get dealt with it. Look, if I really had it my way, if we got it, evidence proving that you did it, ain't gonna be no trial. We're gonna just get you up out of here. Boy, y'all better be glad I'm not running society. I would get rid of some of this bullshit. I really would. I would go ahead and put a stern stop to it. Anything where you harming a child, an elderly person, somebody that's handicapped, anything like that, what we need to keep you around for? Let's just get you up out of here. If it's proven beyond a shadow of all doubt that you did it, nah, I don't need you sitting in prison. Your prison stay will be very short. The only reason that we will lock your ass up is to figure out how we're going to execute you. That's where I'm going with it. Yep, I sure would, and I mean that. But things that is proven that you've done, nah, man. I'm not for you just sitting around for a long time. Let's get you up out of society. That's how I feel about it. But see, let me tell you something. For the people that, are like, oh, it ain't no racism, ain't no white supremacy. Racism was a long time ago. See, this is just the case that we know about here. Do you know how much this is going on across America? Right now, the cases with the whites, the so-called white allies, let's be clear on this. They know who's doing this in their neighborhoods. You understand? And see, this is why I'm also against them adopting our children. I'm not for that. And the other half of that is, let's keep it a buck. I don't want them adopting our children because of their history towards us and present day, the way they treat us. But also the other half of this equation is, this is why you don't just be getting with any and everybody having kids out of wedlock without forming a damn family where you going to be the one taking care of them children. It's one thing to try to form a healthy, complete black family, and then one of you passes away, unfortunately, or, things do just run their course, but at least try to do it. Because, see, When our kids go into their system, man, that I wouldn't wish the foster care system on no child, especially not a black one. Especially not a black one, because see, the reason why they did this to these children, because they know, hey, you do something to a black kid, no, nobody really care about them like that. See, let me go ahead and be all the way real with my statement here. Family, you need to understand something, and I want the sisters listening to this to really take this to heart. It's an evil thing, but you need to have black men telling you the truth that you listen to. When something happens to a black child, no matter how much you love black children, you need to understand, going back to these birth rates, they're like, yeah, that's just one less little niglet around here. That's how they see it. I know that's a demonic thing to say, but that's how they think. Don't you understand that anytime something happens to a black child, that where one of them it happens to lose their life, they celebrate that. They're like, oh, that's just one less of you that we got to deal with. Yeah, it's that serious here in 2024, okay? I want y'all to listen to this story here because, see, I'm going to be honest with you. It's times like this where if I knew where you was going to be locked up at, well, there needs to be some encouragement in that incarceration facility to make sure that you get changed, if you know what I mean. What's understood don't need to be explained. Let's let it continue.
Those are the allegations. Police were conducting a wellness check at the Cheyenne Lane home October 2nd, 2023, when they were shocked to discover 2 of the couple's 5 adopted children living in deplorable conditions. Children had been padlocked inside a ramshackle storage shed on the back of the property, which had no working lights or water.
Now, family, you think about that. See, today, when we're pushing for these reparations and the anti-black hate crime bill, this is why right here. And then this is just a story that we know about. I know, unfortunately, there's other situations like this that we don't know about, and I'm going to say it right now. I believe in calling curses down on your ass. May the Most High deal with you in the most harsh way possible for you treating the lives of innocent children, especially of our lineage, that way. This is how they used to treat our ancestors back in chattel slavery. Do you know what kind of demonic monster you would have to be to look at any child and say, you know what? I'm going to lock you up in a shed with no lights or running water like you some type of animal. Hell, they treat their dogs better than that, but what have I been saying for years? They look at their dogs' lives as more valuable than any black person. Oh, dude, look, you do something to a dog, man, they come out in droves, up in arms. Oh, boy, you can't do nothing to a dog, but you do something to a black child, man, whatever. Huh? Let me tell you something. Y'all better be on your game today out here if you're a black parent, because these people right here, they are past the point of you thinking you're going to reason with them in any kind of way. There's no education. There's no type of religion that you're going to introduce to them. You can't do nothing with evil like this. That is pure evil. You hear me? A lot of people be like, well, what's the real definition of evil? Here it is right here. Anybody that's capable of doing that to a child, your ass is evil. And you don't need to be here with other sane people. We need to get you up out of here. Tell you right now, boy, I really hope that the brothers and sisters that where they going, I hope they get a hold of this story and they're well aware of it before they get there and they take the proper measures to absolutely change them. Let's get back to it.
You understand why I don't think they deserve bond? The police showed up, and this is what they say they discovered. Used children were identified only as a 14-year-old boy and a 16-year-old girl. Third child, identified as a 9-year-old girl, was confined to a loft inside the main house, away from the presence of the adults, isolated from her other siblings, police said, according to reports. Atlanta Blackstar filling in more. At the initial court hearing in October, Lance and Whitefeather pleaded not guilty, and Kanawha County Circuit Judge Mary Claire Akers set bond at $200,000 in each. Too low. That's too low. Couple made bail in February, were released to await trial. They remained free for several months, but in May, a grand jury indicted the couple on more than a dozen new charges, most serious being human trafficking of a minor child, which prompted the judge to revoke the lower bond, ordering the couple held in lieu of $1 million. Along with human trafficking and neglect with serious risk of bodily injuries or death, I don't find the bond to be sufficient, Akers told defense attorneys during the second bond hearing. Upgraded charges included alleged use of a minor child in forced labor, child neglect, creating a substantial risk of serious bodily injury or death, as well as false swearing, potential civil rights violations based on color, race, or ancestry, according to documents. Indictment suggests that 3 of the 5 adopted children were Black and that the human rights charges stem from those children being specifically targeted and forced to work because of their race. Police reported that a small RV toilet seat was placed in a barn for the children to use. At the second bond hearing, Whitefeather described the barn as a teenage clubhouse and claimed the children weren't locked in. However, neighbors disputed this, stating the children were forced to do farm labor and weren't allowed inside the residence, according to the indictment.
Now, family, I'm going to show you why I'm so adamant against this so-called white ally term being something that our people just latch on to at the first white person that come around talking about how much they love Black people. And, you know, red flag for me. And you'll see that on the broadcast that I showed you at the beginning, to go and check out on Brother Tariq Radio's channel, where that Karen came over there talking all that crap that she was talking. This is why I don't advocate for that white ally stuff when they come around talking about people of color. That's an automatic red flag. If they cared so much about them children, the neighbors that saw that, why weren't they reporting that en masse and saying, hey, there's some little Black children over there that look like they're being mistreated, if they actually cared? You hear what I'm saying? See, they'll just look and observe it. But see, if there was white children that they saw, especially, let's go here. I'm going to put it in here again. If a Black couple had some white children, they would be calling the police 24/7 and ain't even nothing going on. I guarantee you that. Huh? See, if they really cared, they would be up in arms about, hey, nah, man, look like them kids out there, they ain't, being, think about it. You know, let's go here, family. Let's keep it a buck. Let me ask a question. For the brothers and sisters in my chat room, I want y'all to do something for me. Because, see, we're going to need some chat room participation before I ask this question. Because, see, I want y'all to really bear with what I'm about to say. I want this to stick. I want you to put what state you from in my chat room. I'm going to give y'all a bit of time to do that before I ask this question. I want you to sign out, put what state you from in here. Because most of my audience, Foundational Black American Freedmen or non-FBA. Okay, if you over here, I know you all right, you on code. You wouldn't be over here otherwise, all right? Put what state you from in the chat room. I want y'all to fill it up. I want to see some things, okay? I'm looking. I see Missouri. I see California, Tennessee, Connecticut, Texas. Okay, seeing Missouri, okay, California. Okay. Y'all keep it coming. Keep it coming. If you listen to this broadcast, tell me what state you from. I want you to type it in the chat room because I'm going to make a point. I see South Carolina, Pennsylvania. Okay, come on. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. I need to see it. Louisiana. Woo! Oh, my God. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Oh, Lee Holmes, Georgia. New Jersey. Okay. All right. So now that I'm seeing a couple of states, North Carolina, Oregon. Oh, my God, sister. I'm gonna have to say an ancestral prayer for you because I already know about Oregon. And they try to run out with people up out of there. Oh, my God, sister. Sister Stolen Ancestors 1526. I'm going to need you to come on to the South, sweetheart. I don't know if you got a husband or not. Y'all, come on, get out from up there. Come on up out of there. But family, I'm going to ask this question. The reason why I wanted to see what states y'all were from, because I want y'all to verify what I'm saying. When it comes to them folks observing things, how nosy are they in your state where you at? Because you know they always, especially if it's something going on with Black people, they trying to see what you got going on, especially for those of you that live in neighborhoods where there's some fences. They're always looking over trying to see what you doing. As nosy as them folks are, you trying to tell me that they didn't see when they was putting them children out there in that shed at night and then looking like they going in the house and leaving them out there? You trying to tell me none of them didn't see that? Oh, come on. Look, watch this. I guarantee you all of us can say we've seen this. Family, how many of you, especially those of you that live in fairly nice neighborhoods, come outside let's just say for the brothers especially, you get ready to mow your lawn or whatever, you know, they'll come out and start acting like they watering their grass, trying to see what you got going on with their nosy asses. You trying to tell me they didn't see none of that going on and couldn't have went ahead and reported that before that happened to them babies? Huh? Yeah, I'm going there with it because I know them, man. We all know how they are. So that's why I don't put no stock in that white ally crap, because they saw what was going on with that. And they was just like, well, they Negro children. They ain't none of our children. I know how these people think. That's why I say, family, we got to be serious about the business of protecting our babies and doing what it takes to empower and protect our communities, because that's the responsibility we have. And we know what the system is towards us. We know how these people are targeting us daily, especially the most innocent and most vulnerable amongst us. Then those of us that are able to defend them, we can't be playing no games out here today. We can't be playing no games because, see, I'm going to let the rest of this play, but we're going to get into something else here that I'm going to show that we're going to have to start dealing with in our community. Let's let it continue.
I think we know who turned them in. Thank you. When rescued, 16-year-old girl told deputies they had been locked in the barn for about 12 hours, having last eaten at sunrise. According to Deputy H.K. Burdett, the children couldn't exit, requiring deputies to force entry inside the... Wow. I'm going to keep going. Inside, they encountered a disturbing smell and intense heat due to poor ventilation. According to court papers, both children appeared feral, dirty, reeking of body odor, while the boy had open sores on his bare feet. The children told investigators they were forced to sleep on a bare concrete floor, no mattress, no covers. You see the picture. That's evidence shown during the court hearing. Police remained at the house for 3 hours before Lance arrived home with an 11-year-old boy. When authorities checked the home for other potential victims, they found the 9-year-old holed up in a loft. Lance was placed under arrest. About an hour later, White Feather returned home, guided deputies to another 6-year-old girl who was visiting with another couple from their church. I can't stand church, I say. Just a little detail. Church?
We all know that whatever God they're serving in their church, it's not the one that we serve. Oh, it can't be, because, see, like I've said many times, and I've shown the history on this channel, these people will go and sit right in church and then be discussing attending the public lynching and when they get out of church. So you're not serving the Most High that I serve. If that's what you got going on. Oh, no. Their version of God is not ours. They not like us. Let's let it continue.
The latest bond hearing, Kanawha County prosecutors argued that the couple's original cash bonds were likely obtained through trafficking profits, pointing to the fact that the couple produced the $400,000 bond despite a lack of obvious means to do so. Should be no bond in this circumstance. They're a threat. At the same proceeding, Lance and Whitefeather claimed they possessed no income or assets, raising questions about the source of the funds for their bond. Kanawha County Assistant Prosecuting Attorney Christopher Trevonyak characterized the money posted for the couple's release as contraband directly or indirectly used or intended to use to violate human trafficking laws. Seize it. Seize it. Just seize it. Don't give it back. Early February, the couple sold an 80-acre ranch in Tonasket, Washington for $725.
Let me go ahead and tell you what I would do. Once I have them locked up, if I had my way, I would burn their property to the ground. I'll knock that shit down and salt the earth. I'll like, no, we're gonna tear this up. We're gonna tear all this up, because I wouldn't even leave nothing where you commit that kind of evil standing. I wouldn't, okay? I'm gonna tell you, they better be glad I'm not running the show. They better be glad it's not up to me to clean it up, because I'm telling y'all, man, y'all just don't understand. I believe in the Old Testament when it comes to certain things. Let it continue.
$5,000. Days later, Whitefeather's brother, Marcus Hughes, posted 2 bonds for $200,000 to release the couple from the South Central Regional Jail. Ravonyak said they have since sold the Sissonville home, where they were arrested, for $295,000. The court seized all funds, thank you, as potential human trafficking profits, making them inaccessible to the defendants. Prosecutors argue that regardless of the fund sources, their use was meant to support human trafficking and forced labor. Akers also remarked that the case was unlike any other she had heard during.
The good brother Nightfall Drop just asked a very important question in the chat room. I'm gonna definitely give you an answer, my brother, because you're right. Brother Nightfall Drop says, my question is, how is it these two were just giving children when I have met men and women with and couples who have impeccable records and went through hell to get a kid? Well, my brother, unfortunately, in the United Snakes of America, with these white supremacists running the show, they participate in human trafficking of black children. That's what the foster care system has become, believe it or not. See, we oftentimes talk about people being able to buy kids in these countries abroad. Well, there isn't a whole child trafficking ring that's blended in with the legal foster care system. That's how they get them. And you got white supremacists every year that are allowed to go and get black children, and they're treated this way. That's exactly why, my brother. And this is why we must take our responsibilities very serious, okay, when it comes to these things. And see, let me tell you something else. What you need to start training your black children to do, my suggestion, those of you that are black parents listening to this program tonight, start debriefing your kids and then having them debrief you on what they see going on. Because there might be one of their peers is black that's going through something. Between them giving you that information, there might be something the community need to come together on to see if that child needs some help. Okay, I get it. You raising your own children, but the reason why I'm saying that that's important, a threat to any black child is a threat to all black children. That's how I see it, okay? And this is why I go so hard in the paint on people that's out here just recklessly having kids, whether it's the men or the women, all right? You being selfish and you putting other children in danger, okay? For those that do that. But for those of us that's in our right frame of mind, we got to do our utmost best to protect the youngest of our community because they can't protect themselves. Let's let it continue.
In her entire career as a judge, it alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor, Akers said, according to reports. Human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race and they were used basically as slaves, what the indictment alleges. Both Lance and Whitefeather pleaded not guilty to the charges in the indictment. However, they remain in jail as they have been unable to meet the higher bond amount. Next court appearance scheduled for September 9. You know we're going to follow this one. Woes, at this stage of the game, I guess we shouldn't be surprised at what is the alleged conduct of another being. It's hard for me to say human being in a case like this. Are you surprised at all the detail here, the sick conditions?
Well, when you see a level of abuse this sadistic and systematic, oftentimes these folks, they think, look, we got these kids basically from the state, off of adoption and things of that nature. These are people that nobody cares about. And so we can go about doing whatever the hell it is we want to do to these people because nobody's going to follow up. Nobody's going to think about the well-being of these young children.
And see, the brother in the chat room, ATL_007, you brought up a good point that we all need to be pushing forward with this case. There definitely should be hate crime charges on this, okay? There definitely need to be because, see, let me tell y'all something. One of the most egregious things that happened under this current demonic Biden administration, the greatest national security threat I have ever seen in my lifetime, I'll never stop saying that. When they leapfrog the Asian community over the black community with that Asian hate crime bill, see, if this was done to some little Asian children, guess what? That charge would automatically be added to them. You see what I'm saying? This is why we cannot accept anything less than that specific tangible plus our reparations when it comes to dealing with any of these politicians, whether they Democrat or Republican. It's non-negotiable. This is happening to our children. And it's our responsibility, if we see these things, to do what's in their best interest and advocate to get them protections and justice under the law. So I'm glad that you pointed that out, brother. It definitely should be a hate crime because it is one. Let it continue.
Of course, their race being a very big part of it, but also, as you know, like again, just generally the
the backgrounds of people who end up being put up for adoption is disenfranchised, right? Regardless of race. Then you add the factor of race in America, particularly for Black people, on top of this marginalized group of young people, and you can get something like this where people feel emboldened to do something this so obviously illegal and vile. I don't think you can separate those factors from the commission of these crimes. Like, they wouldn't go out and try to do this to some beauty queen from a freaking nice little white family. They would say to themselves, hell no, they're gonna get us for this. But when it comes to, you know, a marginalized group of people and a historically marginalized race, on top of that, they're gonna think they have free shot. And I think the saddest part about this, and I would really like for the listeners to understand this, is that I myself grew up with foster kids. My mom, my entire life, damn near, was a foster parent. And when you hear about the stories of some of these kids and the backgrounds that they come from, it's harrowing stuff. And we do need more people to step up, man, and provide safe, you know, great homes for these young people who find themselves in, you know, adverse situations. Like, we actually do need people to step up and help. And so, you know, just the fact that these folks could take advantage of that need for help and do this kind of sick stuff, I would just hope that, you know, in the future, man, the government municipality that gave these people rights to oversee the lives of these young people, they do better checks in the future. But I will say, man, these services that foster parents and, you know, people that adopt children, they're doing some just incredible work to provide safe homes for folks, and it's definitely needed. It's just a shame that this kind of thing can come out of that.
It's just so sick. It's so sick, but it is proof that while we saw, you know, the recent story, a police officer stepping up, an anti-Karen, the woman who was serving the unhoused, and then the reminder from one of our great TYT members that there are good people in this world. There's this stark contrast too, that you would actually look at a little child and see that they are put on this earth for you to use, for you to harm, for you to treat worse than you would an animal. And I don't even like that analogy. Shouldn't we treat, as a kid, I don't like insects, crickets, and stuff. I didn't want to kill them though. And maybe it's just me, okay? I have a big mouth, sure. But I have a heart, and I just have such a tough time with this. I know you're not my spiritual advisor, Woes, but I have a tough time believing that there are actual people like this without there being some kind of a chemical imbalance.
Let me pause her right here while she's going on her screed describing what she can't believe and what she, you know, just can't fathom. Sister, and anybody thinking like her, this is why you don't tap dance around calling the problem what it is. They are white supremacists. Those are not human beings. Those are demonically insane entities posing as human beings. That's what they are by way of their actions, not just their skin color, their actions. When you do that towards children, there's no way any sane person, unless you are a white supremacist or some demonically insane, deranged person, would say that what they did was not evil. And see, I get it. She's on that platform that's connected to the Young Turks or what have you. But over here in New Black Media Spaces, we don't tap dance around calling things what they are. And this platform damn sure ain't gonna do it, okay? As long as it's up on this on YouTube, I'm not gonna tap dance around calling these types of things exactly what they are. You don't try to equate what they do to what you do because you're not a white supremacist. All right? And only a white supremacist would do that to just black children, period, okay? So I just want to go ahead and clear that up. We don't sugarcoat what's going on over here. Let's let it continue.
Just indoctrination.
Yeah, I think part of it too is Yeah, the mental health capacities of this country, the situation that's going on with drugs, and can people get help? And we don't know. This is speculative. I don't know if these people were drug addicts, but it's just hard for me to see somebody with their sober mind, man, with any level of humanity within them, doing something this ridiculous. But I would say that I'm heartened by.
See that kind of stuff right there. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. That kind of gets on my nerves when I see black people trying to go all around and up over and to the side of everything except for what it actually is. Call the threat what it is. Them being on drugs and all this other stuff ain't got a damn thing to do with it. It's white supremacy and anti-black racism. That's what it is. If you're gonna report on something, tell the truth about what's going on. There's no way to make things politically correct when you see what's right in front of your face. That's like somebody pissing in your face and telling you it's yellow rain or lemonade. I don't play them games over here.
The vigilance of the people who reported these injustices and crimes. Shouts to those people for having the foresight and the human empathy to go out and say, you know what, this looks like some effed up stuff going on. We gotta make this right.
You are right. You're right. And even though you're not my spiritual advisor, you just uplifted me. You did. Because there's that side of you, you temper it, and you did show me, even in this desperate circumstance, the silver lining, something positive. These kids will be freed. And whoever helps rear them next, please, you better do right by them. We'll follow this story.
See, let me tell y'all something. And I think if you over here on this platform, you understand what I'm about to say next. It's good to report on these stories, but you should also report on these stories in a way where you're making sure that the people that they affect, which is Black America, because that's what happened. It was Black children. You should report on them in a way that people understand to take the threat serious, because see, I'm glad that the children are free from that. Don't get me wrong, I am. But in order for us to prevent that from happening in the future, we can't be tap dancing around calling the problem out for what it is. They act like they was afraid. I gotta say it. They act like they was afraid to offend their white viewership. That's what that sounds like to me. I could be wrong. But when I start seeing Black people trying to rationalize other things and not call it what it is, that's what that looks like to me. Okay, that's what I see. I could be wrong, but that's what I see. But now we got to deal with something else here regarding that same story. Because, see, family, along the lines of the theme of this broadcast tonight about having a sentinel mindset, meaning to be a guardian or a protector, you also have to recognize the threats within the community. Now, we're going to go over something here tonight. You're not going to believe this, but see, it goes into why I say being a buck dancing Sambo is no victimless crime. And it's something that we're going to have to deal with, because when you got people that's behind, okay, any combat lines, and they're supposed to be on your side, in your unit, and they operate in a way that could place the rest of the group in danger, you got to deal with that. You have to. You have to take that threat serious. You're going to see what I mean here shortly. I'm going to let this play, and we're going to be critiquing this as need be.
And I don't think I've ever seen an indictment like this in all of my time. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor, human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a white couple in Sentinel, West Virginia, adopting 5 Black children and forcing them into slavery, quite literally. If you see the indictment, you see the charges talking about human trafficking of a minor, forced labor of a minor, things of that nature are in the actual documents. And the reason why I mentioned the race is because these children were targeted because of their race to become slaves. Now, the couple are originally from Washington State, and they adopted these children in Washington and brought them to West Virginia. Now, I saw this on Oliver Mack, Right Wing Angels page. Shout out to him for posting it. And it really touched me because I'm from this area. I was born in Charleston, West Virginia, which is like 15 minutes from Sissonville. I know about this area, Sissonville. I'll talk about that a little bit more a little bit later. And this is really shocking and really crazy. Now, we have a lot of details to get into, but first things first, let's check out a news clip here. I will link to everything in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
A Sissonville couple accused of human trafficking and forced labor of adopted children, including 2 teenagers who were found locked in a barn in Sissonville. Well, they're back in jail.
Now, during their arraignment this afternoon, Judge Mary Claire Akers significantly increased the bonds for Gene Whitefeather and Donald Lance. Anna Saunders joins us live in the studio tonight with the reason. Anna?
Dave, Gina, before setting their bonds to $500,000 cash each, Judge Akers said she has never seen an indictment quite like this. And then
Now, before they continue, I've not seen anything quite like this in recent history. You would think that we are in a late 1800s, post-slavery, something like that. Now, it's 2024, and this is happening in real life. This is not a skit. It's not a prank. This is not a joke. This is dead serious. You have these people who literally got these black children from, I guess you would say, orphanage, wherever they were, and placed them into actual slavery. They had them in the barn. It was slave-like conditions. Let's keep on.
Hey, Bill, you know why you hadn't seen nothing like this in recent history? Because you go out your way buck dancing and tap dancing for them folks, and you don't pay attention to these things. Family, how many stories have we covered over here, not just on my channel, but over the years in new black media spaces as a whole, about these types of things being done to black children? How many stories? How many can you in the chat room name that you've seen on different platforms, whether it's mine or anybody else's in new black media, where we covered them folks getting a hold of black children and doing them harm like this? Because my channel has countless stories like that alone. If you go through my archives, and other brothers and sisters as well. See, ABL, what your problem is, and everybody that's familiar with this man, Anthony Brian Logan, knows that he's one of the biggest book dancing sambos on this platform. You go out your way talking about there's no such thing as racism like it was in the past, just denying. And then when something so outrageous happens, now you're forced to actually acknowledge it for what it is. But see, family, I want you to listen to the commentary he's about to give, because see, I'm going to tell you something. I got something coming up on this channel, and believe it or not, you're not going to believe me when I say it, but I got something coming up on this channel that's going to prove what I'm saying. This man actually said it once. Listen to this. If you think you hadn't heard the most ridiculous thing ever, this man is on record out of his own mouth saying that the Ku Klux Klan used to bring his grandma toys and gifts when he was a kid. I promise you, don't worry, we gonna get there. Just trust me. Stay tuned over here in the coming few days. We gonna get to that, because I got an important lesson I got to teach about cooning and samboing not being a harmless or victimless crime. But see, I want you to listen to how he's talking about he just can't believe this. He hadn't seen nothing like this. Oh, you would think we're in the 1800s. No, we're in 2024. And see, when you're a buck dancing coon and you too cowardly, even though he's a very intelligent man, I won't take that away from him. Just because he's a sambo doesn't mean he's a stupid man. A lot of people get that twisted. This man is very intelligent. Very intelligent. That does not mean that you're not a coward, and it doesn't fit the description of what I said earlier in the broadcast about people being so afraid of white supremacy, they turn their head from it and try to pretend that it doesn't exist. And look, I get it. ABL could be hustling them white folks to get their money, saying what he want to hear. I ain't knocking how another man get his paper, do what you do. But as far as that book dancing, that buffooning, when I see it, I'm going to call it out. But I want y'all to listen to how he's talking about this story like he's just so surprised and so shocked that this happened in 2024. Let's let it continue.
I'm going.
not only alleges the trafficked black children, adopting them from shelters and foster care, forcing them to work, but that they specifically targeted them because of their race.
Jeannie Whitefeather and Donald Lance came in on their own for their arraignments, but left in cuffs after Judge Mary Claire Akers set their bonds at $500,000, more than double what they had already paid.
Now, I read about this. They had already paid like $200,000, and then they were out on bond, I suppose. And when they came back, they had to pay $500,000, or that was the new bond. I don't know if they're able to make it, but that's what they are being charged with. Now, some may say that they're just trying to get money from them. And really, listen, I'm not even mad at them just fleecing all the money, taking whatever they can, and then locking them up, giving them the rope, whatever. I'm not even mad at that. Let's keep on going.
And I don't think I've ever seen an indictment like this in all of my time. It alleges human trafficking, human rights violations, the use of forced labor, human rights violations specific to the fact that these children were targeted because of their race, and their use as basically slaves from what the indictment alleges, along with human trafficking and neglect with serious risk of bodily injury or death. I don't find the bond to be sufficient.
Whitefeather and Lance were first arrested last October when a welfare check turned into the discovery of two teens apparently locked in a shed where investigators said they lived in deplorable conditions.
Look at this. You see these conditions? They had them in this shed. That's where they were, and they were forced to live there and work out of there.
Behind the Sissonville home. One other kid was found inside the house and two others were not home, all adopted by the couple. The indictment brought more than a dozen new charges against them alleging human trafficking and forced labor, also civil rights violations, as investigators believe they targeted these children specifically from a shelter because they were black, forcing them to work as slaves. Whitefeather and Lance were originally in Washington State, and it is alleged they brought the children with them to Sissonville when they moved.
Counts 9 through 12 allege the use of forced labor, which I read as slavery.
Bond was initially set at $200,000 cash, and they were both able to post it. Prosecutors have said in a new complaint for forfeiture, the couple sold a $725,000 80-acre ranch in Washington.
So this is in Tonasket, Washington. If you guys know what it is, y'all let me know in the comments.
State, and sold their Sissonville home to post bond, and they believe both of these properties were paid for through trafficking.
Now, my question is, what exactly were they doing to make money from this operation? Now, I really, maybe I'm asking the question. I don't really want to know the answer, but I am kind of curious.
That will be decided in a separate court matter, but because of this, prosecutors say they found discrepancies in the financial affidavit Lance filled out.
Now let's pause it right here because see, ABL, you too smart a man not to even have an idea of what they were doing to make money. Who knows what they was doing to these children? Because see, let's just keep it above. For those of us with common sense over here in New Black Media Spaces, we know oftentimes that when these white supremacists get their hands on our children, there's always some type of sexual abuse involved. Who knows what they're not telling us that also happened to these children besides them being locked in that shed and being forced to do labor. I know there's more to it than that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're keeping some of that out of the media, especially if any of them are little female children, okay? We already know that. But see, when you're dealing with somebody like that, you know, will tell you that ain't no such thing as white supremacy today and all this other stuff, yeah, you would have a hard time fathoming what they did to children because you disconnected from anybody in Black America. But see, you know, I'm glad he's having his say on this because I'll say this again. I'm one of the people with a platform. I don't want nobody's platform censored. Nobody. I want you to be free to come out and express your views and get your cooning out there in the open, just like the white folks get they white supremacy in the open, okay? See, let me tell you something. The reason why I'm making a big deal out of this, and yes, he's condemning it. Yes, he's calling out for what it is. But the one thing that I want my people to understand is if you're around people that are this brain dead, yes, I'm saying brain dead, even though he's very intelligent. I say brain dead, I'm talking about lacking the common sense to realize that in America, you're in a system of white supremacy and you can't be running around oblivious to stuff like this because see, somebody with his mindset, these are the people that will give them a benefit of the doubt on stuff. Unless it's something like this where you just, oh my God, it's so bad. You understand? These people right here are the ones that you got to separate from, okay? I'm just letting that be known out here. Let's let them continue.
For a court-appointed attorney, leading to a new charge on his indictment.
Some of the information on his face is inaccurate.
Lance had to fill out a new affidavit today as the two were taken back into custody.
Now, the next time these two are scheduled to appear in court is for their scheduled trial in September. Prosecutors noted there are volumes of evidence in this case for all sides to go through. Now, in terms of the bond issue with how the original bonds were paid for, that is to be worked out at a later date. Live in the studio, Anna Saunders, Eyewitness News. We have more great.
Good evening, and thank you for joining.
So that's what's going on out there in West Virginia, Sissonville. Now, there's a lot I want to say here. There's so much I want to say. First of all, like I said, I was born in this particular area, Kanawha County. That's like right up the way from where I was born. I got a lot of family in this area. Sissonville, from what I know, is like a suburb, a veteran community of Charleston. It's not known to be a dangerous place. And quite frankly, in 2024, although there are still some dangerous places in West Virginia where you probably don't want to go, it's not necessarily because they're racist, although there are some racist places.
There it is. There it is. Family. Let me tell you something. It's one thing to be a young black person, a young child, a teenager. I'll even give you in your early 20s. And you are a black person in America and you still hadn't got a functioning understanding of white supremacy and racism in America. But when you get to his age where you got gray in your damn beard and you gonna say, well, it's not that many places that's racist in Virginia, although it's some, why don't you just say what it is? It ain't, where my people that's ever been through West Virginia? Huh? Because I've been through there. Oh, yes. I used to have family that lived up there, okay? I've been up there when I was a young teenager, and I've been through their own business. Family, that's like passing through a real live set of the movie The Hills Have Eyes. This is what you see up there, going up there. And you're going to hear this man tell me, well, there's not that many places that the racist. ABL, I'm going to say something to you, brother. Even though I know that's your hustle over there, you getting the white folk for their bread, get your bag. You too intelligent to say stupid things like that, man. You really are. I'm going to be honest with you. If nobody else wants to, and look, I know a lot of other content creators over the years that know this man. They probably not going to like me saying it. I don't give a damn about that. We got to stop playing these kinds of games when we have intelligent people amongst us that say stupid things like this. You playing with your life. ABL, I tell you what you do. Because you from there. You know what that place is. Go wander around some of them places up there that you if you don't believe it's that much racism up there. You, with your 6'3" black ass, go run around some of the places where you don't think that there's no racism. And if you don't go there, I got some places I can tell you to go to Vidor, Texas. Huh? Yeah, come on down to Griffin, Georgia, Rebecca, Georgia. Okay? Come on through some of these places where it's some modern day sundown town. I guarantee you, all that cooning and buffooning that you be doing, you'll get a real-time wake-up call about just how wrong you are about racism being a thing of the past. I'm going to let him continue, though. I want y'all to listen to the rest of this silly statement he's about to make here.
The danger is because you're probably going to run into some tweakers, people that are just high on drugs and violent that way. You're talking about people who are in abject poverty and high on meth and crack and fentanyl.
You hear him? See, this is how you know that as a black person, you've been detached completely from your people. So it's not racism, it's just people don't judge. The tweakers, even that word he uses, we don't talk like that. It's tweakers, it's tweakers. Oh, so it's tweakers, huh? So there's no stunt. Look, let me tell you something, man. Besides Georgia being one of the places where the Ku Klux Klan is still very much alive and well, West Virginia is also one of those places, along with other white supremacist groups. And this man is going to sit here and tell you and me that the most thing we have to worry about today in 2024 in areas like that is tweakers. Okay. Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you like we used to say in the military, wherever the stupid people are, make sure you're not there. Okay? Wherever the stupid people are, make sure you're not there. Make sure you're not there. And this is one of them, this type of mindset right here. If you know people like this, you're not going to educate them out of things. By the time somebody get gray in their beard, ain't nothing you finna tell them or teach them to make them change their ways. You just listen to what they say, accept it for what it is, and make sure you are not around them when they hit the fan. And I'm going to tell you, if you like me, when they get their wake-up call and they come running asking for help, I'm like, hey, man, ain't no racism. I don't know what you're talking about. You need to go back over there with your good white buddies. It ain't no racism. You good. That don't exist. That's a figment of your imagination. I need you to just go over there and face that figment. That's what I'm telling them. I'm not lending no help to no coons in our community. Let's let it continue.
Pills, because of Big Pharma intentionally dumping all these pills into the region as a test subject. But that's a different story, and I digress. The point is, the danger in West Virginia is not really about some kind of racism thing. It's about the drugs and the violence that may come from that.
Family, over the years, I've covered several stories where these anti-black racists and white supremacists have done things to not only children, but black people. Go down the archives of my channel. This man is from this place and saying this with a straight damn face. See, let me tell you something. I don't count nobody's pockets, but it's just some things I wouldn't be willing to do for money. There's no way I would sit up here and lie with a straight face and tell you what this man just told you. You don't even need channels like mine and other new black media channels to research the history in present day about how they treat black people in West Virginia. But according to him, it ain't got nothing to do with no racism now. It's tweakers. Blithering idiot. It don't make no sense for this man to be that smart and sound like a blithering idiot. Let it continue.
And again, these individuals were from Washington State, and they trafficked these children to West Virginia. Now, I don't know why they had to go here to do this, but whatever the case may be, I hope that these individuals get the rope 100%. And you know what? I was thinking about this, and I was kind of scratching my head like, what does it remind me of? I was thinking about another case that this reminds me of, and I thought about Ruby Frankie over there in Utah. Remember the quote-unquote mommy vlogger? She did the exact same thing. Well, not quite the exact same thing. In the case of Ruby Frankie, she locked her own kids up and used food as a weapon, starved her kids, had them outside in the baking sun, things of this nature, treating her children basically like slaves, and was making money off of them because they had the vlog. They had the big YouTube channel that brought in a lot of money. They had a podcast and all kind of stuff that emanated from the traffic they would get from these kids who were being placed in really deplorable conditions. Very similar to what they were doing in West Virginia, but those adopted kids, obviously the big difference is that they were not the biological children, and there was a racist element in it because they were targeted due to being black. But yeah, if you're out in Sissonville, if you're anywhere in West Virginia and you're a black person, you're going to stand out. It's a 97% white state. I mean, Charleston has a pretty big black population, obviously. But once you go beyond that and you're a black person, you're going to stand out. That's probably why they had them in the shed, things of this nature. That's why there was a welfare check done. Maybe some neighbors had not seen the kids in a while. Maybe there was some suspicious activity. They do the welfare check. Oh, wow, what do we have here? We have you locking these kids up, using them as slaves. You're going to go. So as I close, I want to say this. I hope this couple gets the ultimate, gets the rope, gets the chair, gets the needle, or a combination of all of the above. This is really crazy to happen in 2024, but it can happen. Now, luckily, we live in the USA, and there are laws against this kind of thing. So if somebody does do it, then they get punished. They get caught, they get punished, they get sent to the penitentiary, and that's that.
No ABL, not when it's black people, it doesn't always happen. See, let me tell you something, man. I've been watching this guy over the years. I'm familiar with his content on YouTube, and I've been noticing certain wake-up calls he's getting on X too. Oh yeah, I see you over there, ABL. You find out some of your good white buddies ain't your good white buddies over there on X. Oh yeah, I've seen you, man. He's forced to admit that this is wrong. He's condemning it. He's calling for their punishment. But he still can't get it around his head that this does not always get punished when it happens to black people, especially black children. There's case after case that proves that. Some of these people get away with absolute outright murder when it comes to black children. We've covered this for years over here on my platform alone, like I said. Let me tell you something, man. It's one thing, like I said before, to be young and impressionable and not be aware of things. But by the time we get to gray hairs in our heads and in our beards, we not supposed to be at this state of mind where ABL is. We just not. Let's let it continue.
Now, some parts of the world, you go to China, Africa, other parts of Asia, etc. Well, hey, human trafficking, forced labor is not really a big deal. And some of the forced labor is used to create some of the things you need the most in your everyday life, unfortunately. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on this whole situation? Do you know about Sissonville, Canal County, in this particular area? Are you surprised? Are you not surprised? How about these people? What should be the punishment for them? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. As I said, I was born in this area. I got family out here. I've been out there a lot. I know about Sissonville. They did that show from MTV called Buck Wild in Sissonville. This is like a bedroom community. It's like a suburb type area. It's not a place where you would think this kind of thing would happen. But sometimes you never know. You could live in a beautiful community, gated community, and right next door could be a monster. Sometimes you're not always aware of what's happening. Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.
Well, family, you heard what he had to say. And ABL, let me tell you and everybody else, listen to this broadcast some as we close here tonight. Those of us that have common sense and don't sit up here and try to sweep anti-black racism and white supremacy under the rug, we're not surprised about that story. And we don't think that because a white suburb is a place that looks nice, that, oh, this is white Conda and there's nothing bad going on over there. We got more sense than that, okay? We got a lot more sense than that. And see, this is what we always tell those in the tether class that come up here and some of our own lineage, because those of you that think that, oh, the best neighborhood to live in is where the white people at, and the best schools to go to is to put your black kids in an all-white school, just thinking everything better is always white. Where you think the white supremacists live at, jackass? Huh? That would do this kind of stuff. Not to just us, but their own people. Y'all, let me tell you something. I'm going to leave that there as far as getting on him because I got some content coming up which y'all are not going to believe, but we're going to go through it tooth and nail. And when I tell you there's going to be lessons in it to be learned that you must be able to apply today, going forward without condition, it's an understatement. But as far as that concerned, that's in future content coming up. So I'd like to thank everybody that joined us over here on this broadcast tonight. Thank you to everybody that contributed to the broadcast. And one thing I want to say about that, a lot of times those of you brothers and sisters that contribute, like after the broadcast, even if I don't put your name on the community wall, like right after, I make sure I put that on the community wall in a future post, making sure I acknowledge you, okay? So a lot of times, a lot of people will see something and be like, okay, yeah, I had Gabe last week. Sometimes I don't always catch it. You know what I'm saying? But I always try to make sure I acknowledge the people that support this platform. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take care of yourselves. Please look out for your black babies. Remember, we all we got. And if we don't have that black sentinel mindset to protect ourselves, we're not going to get that protection. Salute, black first, and I will see you all in future content.